We good?
We're good.
I don't have any.
Okay. Good evening and welcome to the December 9th, 2025 meeting of the Leominster Conservation Commission. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. My name is Jesse Averka. I am the conservation agent for the city of Leominster. At this time, please silence all of your devices and allow me to confirm which members are present. Mike Seekey,
President of the County Board.
Nick Venti,
Present.
Chuck Raymond,
Here.
Rich Gullick,
Here.
Steph Quinlan,
Here.
and Jordan Basham.
Here.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you,
Take it away,
Jesse.
Chuck.
Welcome, everybody. Those who have been here a few times and don't know that well. I always like to start off by asking if there's anybody in the audience here that has any questions or comments for the commission that isn't already on the agenda. Anybody falls on category that has something they want to ask? No? Okay, good. Moving on then. There are request for certificate of compliance. We have 40 Hillary Road, DEP number 199-1126, and an older one, 199-905. Jesse, what do you got for us?
Yeah, so we had these on for the last agenda, but they had checked off that there was some confusion. They checked off that they wanted a fully, a certificate of compliance for completing the work. The work never was completed. It's a totally undeveloped lot. So they're just looking to get these closed out with a certificate that states that the work was never completed and that the order is, void.
So you confirmed with them that they should have checked off the box, work never completed?
Yes.
Right, okay. All right. So just with that, we just ask for a motion to approve, correct?
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
fine.
Unless anybody has any questions or, no, okay. With that, then I'll ask for a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for 40 Hillary Road.
So made.
Thank you, Nick. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Steph.
On that vote, how do you vote? Jordan?
Yes.
Steph?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
And Mike?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Let the record show that yes works as well.
Okay. I totally blinked.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
On the spot. All right.
It's hard
Moving
to
on then,
reverse.
under continued hearings. First, I'll read into the record, notice of intent filed by Pierce Pond Realty Trust, represented by William Hannigan for the Pierce Pond Subdivision roadway extension on Roach Ave, DP number 199-1220. Interesting, it's Pierce Pond and Roach Road, but I won't get on that road.
There's a lot of different names of that area, yeah.
Anyway, Bill, it's you.
Good evening. For the record, Bill Hannigan with Hannigan Engineering. We were here last time. The discussion was that we were having with DEP was relative to what we've always viewed and always had been permitted as an intermittent stream to the northwest of the site. So we looked at there are new maps that have come out. The quad sheets don't show this area as a stream at all. They don't show it as intermittent or perennial. And the USGS national maps now show it as a connector stream, which isn't defined within the regulations. So therefore, DEP has taken the position that the connector streams are perennial versus intermittent. This new national map, they have solid blue lines, thin solid blue lines, and dash lines. And they're saying that the only lines that they're looking at is if it's solid, it's perennial. If it's dashed, it's not. So be that as may, I submitted a plan to show if this stream, which is Jesse's bringing in right there, if that one right there is a perennial stream, I'm now showing the 200-foot riverfront area.
Yeah, this one.
Okay, which, as you can see, all the roadway work that we're proposing under this order is outside the 200-foot riverfront area.
Is this that stream in question?
Nope,
It's
just,
up here?
nope, that's not part, the part that heads to the east is just a ditch. So on the map, it's just the main stream from Route 2 coming south.
Okay. So, all right, so this is still a 200-foot area.
Correct.
And the roadway's outside.
Correct. So there is one house that, on lot 7 that we would need to do some work with, but the intent is that we've seen the stream enough to know that it is intermittent. I think it was even intermittent, it wasn't even flowing the day that we were out there for our site walk, and that was before the drought was kicked in, this past summer.
Did you have to, did you and DEP come to an agreement on that?
Well, what we're doing is we're showing it as a riverfront because of the fact that under DEP's requirements, it would be labeled as a riverfront. So
Okay.
we're acknowledging that it's on the map as a river. We're showing it on our plan as being a river. What we'll do is we'll continue our work with the roadways. We have all the other lots that we have to come in for conservation permits on anyways. And we just will wait until we do the study on the river in a non-drought time to show that it's intermittent, have to come back to the commission and deal with it at that point in time, and then we'll basically remove that designation. That's my intent. So that's really only affects Lot 7, doesn't affect any of the roadway construction whatsoever, which is what we're here for tonight.
And then, I'm sorry, you all set?
Yep.
Okay, just to confirm, so when, for each one of the house lots, you'll be coming back to us individually?
Correct.
For the ones that are in play in terms
Correct.
of the wetlands,
Yep.
right? Okay. And, Nick, could you scroll, so can I see the bottom of this?
Yeah.
What did I say, Nick? I'm sorry, Jesse. The old agent used to be Nick.
That's all
In
right.
fact, he probably still is. So in terms of the roadway, is obviously, as I recall from this, there is no BVW here. It's just because of the steep slope. It's just a pond. Correct?
No, there is BVW.
Is there?
Yeah.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah, yeah. There's
Oh, all
the
right.
edge of the pond and BVW as well. Yep.
Just a few feet, right?
Yeah, it's not, it varies. Some areas have 10 or 12, 15, 20 feet. If you look over to the lower left of where that is, right there, there's
Yeah.
quite a band of it.
And then a 100-foot buffer
From the actual wetland, yeah, the buffer zone is from the wetland. Yep.
Okay.
So, but we're not looking at any of the lots right
Right.
now.
It's just the road, right. Yep.
Right, so if
Yep,
you
okay.
scroll back down, what's included in this is the detention basin to the north of the road and to the south of the road.
These two?
Those two there, all the roadway constructions. This is all the same stuff that was on the original order of conditions, as well as the flood compensation work that is to the north of Lot 3A. I believe it's 3A. Yep, 3A.
There we go.
And that work does extend into the riverfront, but that's actually exempt from the riverfront regulations when it's relative to floodplain compensation. Okay, so that's what we talked about on the phone. I then followed it up with a red line to Jesse and to DEP. They then asked, can you just put it on the plan as a riverfront area for now? And we said, yeah, so we did that today.
Okay. All right, I'm good. Anybody else have any questions, comments, concerns from the commission? Nick?
Yeah, so so you're allowed 5,000 feet or 10%, whichever is greater.
Right.
Um,
But
What-
we're not tapping into that right now.
No?
Nope.
Okay.
This is just the roadway. So
So the
we are-
roadway is exempt from
Nope,
the...
nope, the roadway has no riverfront impact.
It's outside the 200-foot area.
It's out, there's no, the roadway itself is
200-foot
out,
riverfront area here. So it's everything to the left of that.
yeah.
Very good. That
Yep.
is correct.
Yep.
It's just, as you said, it's
Yeah.
just lot 7.
No, no,
We'll
yeah,
get
a lot of
we'll
lines
get to
in the
lot
plan.
7 later.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He was
a lot of
just
lines.
testing you, Bill.
It's good to double check.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I looked at that proposed trail and I saw an extension of the road.
No.
Sorry.
Nope, that's good.
No worries. You all set, Nick? Okay, anybody else? Jordan, please.
I turned it back off.
There you go.
Just for my own curiosity, does the road plan account for runoff from the driveways, or will that be accounted for in each of the lot designs?
There's a complete drainage analysis which is included with the submittal. The drainage analysis for the entire site includes the homes, the
Okay.
sidewalks, the driveways, everything. It's all incorporated within that drainage analysis.
Okay,
And that's been submitted as part of the roadway construction project.
great, thank you.
Okay? Yep.
All set? Okay, anybody else? No? Okay. Open up to the audience. Anybody in the audience have any comments, thoughts, questions, concerns about this project? Probably not what you're here for. Okay, all right, good. All right, with that, I'll make a motion to close this portion of the hearing.
So made.
Did I say make? I meant entertain a motion. I forget what I said.
That's okay, I'll make it.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
How do you vote on that? Mike?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Rich? Steph?
Aye.
And Jordan?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Is that on? Oh, okay. All right, Jesse, what are your thoughts? what do we do here?
I don't have any concerns. Like
Okay.
Bill said, this was all already approved in 2016, and then it just lapsed. So they're coming in to finish the work that they already started.
All right,
And, we cleared everything up with at least everything they need to worry about tonight has been cleared up with the state, so
Yeah.
I have no concerns.
okay. All right, with that then, I'll entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent for the project as discussed and described here for DP number 199-1220.
So made.
Oh, I think I heard Steph first. Yeah.
Ladies first.
Second.
What are we doing, like standard order, standard plus special? I think would be.
I didn't hear any concerns that would require any kind of additional
Okay.
special conditions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so just standard order
Yeah.
conditions. Okay.
Yep. Yep. So Steph made the motion, Michael seconded, is that correct?
Correct.
And on that vote, how do you vote? Mike,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Chuck,
Aye.
Jordan,
Aye.
and Steph. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bill.
Yeah, thanks, Bill.
I haven't seen Chris Sullivan in a while. Is he around?
Well, Chris Sullivan is not even at work. Chris Anderson.
Oh, that's what I meant, Chris Anderson. Is he still around?
I've been giving him a few days off.
Okay.
Once in a while.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tell him you're looking for him.
Have a good night.
All right, moving on, next one, I'll read into the record. Notice of intent filed by Pristine Paving LLC for the paving over of an existing gravel area with bituminous concrete on the subject site. Address 320 Central Street, Leominster, Massachusetts, DP number 199-1222. Sir, please come up, introduce yourself.
Good evening, everybody. For the record, Lim Hotiv, I'm an engineer at Goldsmith Press and Ringwall, GPR for short.
I'm sorry, can you say the name again, please?
Lim Hotiv, Limhuot, last name is Tiv, T-I-V.
Okay. And I think you can move that closer to you, can't you? You have to bend over too far.
Do I need to?
Does it have,
Nope.
like if you grab it at the base and pull it back, it should have.
There you
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
No, it's on, you're good.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Just so, yeah. Doing this kind of thing. So-
Didn't want to mess with it, no.
Yeah.
I want to break it.
I appreciate it.
Proceed, go ahead.
I'm sitting in tonight for Jim Basile, who was the engineer who was here last time. As I understand from Jim, the last time he was here, there were some conversation about the compacted gravel on site. The goal of the project has always been replacing the existing compacted gravel drive and then replacing it with actual bituminous concrete pavement. And on top of that, removing an area of approximately 1,000 square feet of existing loose gravel that is adjacent to the bordering vegetative wetland that is also bordering the riverfront just off of the site there. So the question that Jim was trying to answer that he relayed to me earlier today is that there was a question regarding what is considered impervious area on site. Under the Leominster zoning ordinance, section 22-4, impervious area is defined as any natural or man-made materials or structure on, above, or below ground which do not allow surface water or precipitation to infiltrate the underlying soil, including but not limited to building roofs, parking, driveway areas, compacted gravel areas, which is what this is, sidewalks, and paved recreation areas. In addition to that, under Mass Stormwater Handbook, Volume 3, Chapter 1, under documenting compliance, impervious area is also described in the following manner. Not going through the whole thing again, but porous pavement is also considered impervious surface for, the language described. So to us, with these, both the ordinance as well as the section under the Mass Stormwater Handbook, we believe the existing compacted gravel should be considered impervious area, in which we are replacing, in similar surface, ground cover surface, as bituminous concrete pavement.
Okay,
Happy to answer any questions.
okay, you all set?
Yes.
Okay, Rich?
Yeah, I was the one who raised that question because I still know that it is pervious. The packed gravel is not impervious. However, I really appreciate the answer that was given, and I will accept that, because that's what I've been looking for. I don't mind paving this property, that part of it. I just didn't like that being called impervious. So I would disagree with the state and with the ordinance here, but bow to their authority, and I'm okay with it. So thank you very much for this. I've
No
looked for
problem.
this for a while.
Unfortunately, we're all stuck to the regulatory framework that's, allows us to design.
Yeah, it's not science,
Yeah.
it's regulatory, I get that.
Yeah,
All right.
I understand.
Yes, we are.
You all set?
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts or questions for the applicant? No? Okay. Anybody in the audience have any thoughts or questions about this project? Take that as a no, okay. I will then entertain a motion to close this portion of the hearing. Oh, all right. Just leave it on.
Yeah. So, so I went to the site and I found what's delineated as a wetland more of a bank. Is it just like a stream bank or wetland, or is that sort of interchangeable here?
It is in this case. Not often you find a situation where you have bordering wetland, bank, and then high water mark all in the same, but it is in this case.
Okay.
As you can see, we denote, I think we labeled it as high water mark as well as bordering vegetated wetland. It just so happened that there is kind of an elevation drop off at that point, and that's where they had flagged it.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. The second question is, the man at the paving company, Preston, he described that drain there with a leach field underneath, and said that it, ultimately drained into the river, I guess. It's presently broken, that drain. Do you know if that leach field is functional?
I wasn't aware that that pipe itself is broken, but if it's agreeable to the board, I would ask that as part of the conditional approval, there'd be a special condition to kind of do a field investigation for that existing pipe structure. If it needs to be replaced, since we're already taking out the compacted gravel, putting in new sub and stuff like that, that's a perfect time to kind of take a look, and if it needs to be replaced, we should replace it.
Yes, to be clear, it's the rim around the surface drain.
Yep.
It's cracked. I guess the truck ran over it and there was too much weight.
Yeah, if it's agreeable,
Yep.
a condition should specify that the structure itself is not damaged and can be replaced or should be replaced if damaged, as well as the pipe itself.
So just so we can put that into the conditions, so a special
Yeah.
condition to replace the rim around the surface drain, is that worded correctly?
Make sure the surface drain is intact.
It's operable.
Operable
Yeah.
on the, yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we can just ask that at the point that you're excavating all the material around it, just take some pictures and send us what's there. And if
Yeah.
anything needs to be replaced, then obviously, some details on, what's going in there.
Yeah, it's not like they want to
Yeah.
leave them broken anyway, so it's
Yeah,
the perfect
yeah.
time to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm going like, you all set, Nick?
Yeah, and like I said, you don't know anything about how well that leach field is functioning. When I was there, you could look into that stormwater drain, and there was water maybe 2 feet below the surface, and the gravel itself was soft, and that gravel pavement there was soft and wet. We'd recently had some water there.
Bless you.
Effectively, that whole area is pretty close to the surface of the water table. So I was curious about whether that leach field in that drain was functioning properly, because the water table is so close to that pavement surface right there.
Yeah, I see your concern, but you're right, the surface water is relatively close. I mean, that portion of the compacted gravel drive is also, part of the 100-year floodplain, which is why we kind of chose not to mess too much with the grade and trying to maintain everything as is. As far as the water itself, I mean, I'm sure we'll figure it out more once they actually dig up that area a little bit. But there should, you're right, it is a leaching catch basin. So if the groundwater is high, there should be you should be able to see water.
Yeah.
But as long as it's not backfilling up to the surface where it can actually damage the rim and the structure itself,
Yeah.
then
Should-
that becomes a problem on its own.
Yeah.
All right,
It just echoes, these concerns also echo Mass DEP's
Yep.
comments.
And at that point, ultimately, we probably have to look at alternative option as to what potentially we could do. Because any fix that we're going to introduce in this area, we're going to have to deal with the floodplain, which is going to be a bigger issue.
Thank you, Mr. Tipp.
all right. All set, everybody?
Yes, give Jim my thanks for the answer.
Will do. He's down with the flu, but he's feeling better.
Not fun. All right, with that then, since there's no questions from the audience, I'll entertain a motion to close this portion of the hearing.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion.
Thank you, Nick.
On that, how do you vote? Mike?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Steph?
Aye.
And Jordan?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, and with that then, Nick, do you have any? Nick, oh, my God. Jesse?
You work all week for this.
I know, right?
Any thoughts for us, Jesse, on this one?
I don't have any. I
Okay.
mean, it's in that
All right,
there's 1,000 square feet that's currently
all right,
impervious that will be loamed and seeded.
All right.
So.
all right. With that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent for the project. I'll just add the special condition anyway. The wording I have is to basically make sure that the surface drain and the rim around it are functional, and if they need to be replaced, please replace them. Sound
I'll
good?
make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Mike and Jordan. How do you vote on that? Nick?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Jordan?
Aye.
And Steph?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Have a good
it.
night.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Yes, please. With that, moving on down the agenda, Rich will get the last applicant. Reading to the record, notice of intent filed by James Lambert for the construction of a residential development at Lot E, Orchard Hill Park Drive, DP number 199-1217. All right, I'll let you guys get settled and get us going after you introduce yourselves.
Yeah. Go right ahead. Do you need me to we'll just disconnect and see what we have? Oh, you're right there.
Take the plug out.
All right.
Please ignore the map on my desktop.
Whenever you folks are ready. Go ahead.
Good evening. For the record, Matt Bombasi with Bowler Engineering. We're the civil engineers for the project.
It was Matt?
Matt, yep.
Okay, thanks.
No problem. I'm here with Matthew Morrow, the wetland scientist, and Jim Lambert, who represents the applicant, WP East Acquisitions LLC.
Okay.
Just as a quick project update, I know this has been on your agenda for a little bit. I think we were last presenting to you on August 5th. Just wanted to quickly go over what the project's been through since that time, some project updates since that last meeting, and then we can touch base on a few other items if you'd like. August 12th, I'm sorry. So the project has completed a lengthy planning board review process that concluded on November 3rd. As part of that process, I'm sure you guys are aware, there's a very thorough city department comment with engineering, fire, police, all those folks. There's also third-party peer review processes, this traffic, which is more pertinent to planning, as well as the stormwater review through the city's independent third-party reviewer. We've satisfied all those comments as well. So now we're just here in front of conservation with the project. The project first appeared to you as a 308 unit residential project. At this current proposal, it's at 294 units. With the planning board, we did shrink the number of units and some of the limited disturbance per some of the buffer requirements they had requested and to provide some additional wooded area. You can also run through a few of the other updates since the plan was really last in front of you, which was August 5th. I think there was a request by this commission to have the wetland replication area preference for 1.5 times replication area versus 1. So we've done that on the plans at both of the two wetland disturbances for the driveway crossing. Per some consideration of wildlife habitat migration, which Matt Morrow, I'll touch base further. There's 4 blue arrows on the screen here, one at this driveway crossing, one here from that vernal pool to the wetland across the way, one here on the northern vernal pool to the wooded area to the north, and then one at this wetland crossing here. Those 4 amphibian tunnels were proposed in consideration of those comments. There was some stormwater discharge updates and stormwater design updates per the vernal pools that were certified on the site. Those are located here at the south of the screen or the east of the site, here and here. Mass DEP Stormwater Handbook Standard 6 requires specific treatment measures for discharges to vernal pools. So for this vernal pool here, the southern one, there's no discharges or stormwater BMPs within 100 feet. There's a bioretention area here, which comes through a culvert and kind of works through a grass swale down to it. All the treatment measures, the catch basins, the proprietary separator, sediment forebay, bioretention area, all those that Mass DEP handbook specifically requires for standard 6 or for discharge to critical areas. For this vernal pool here to the south, there is no stormwater discharges to it. There is a culvert which connects the area here, this wooded area, to the west or to the plan north through under the project to the plan south, just to provide a hydraulic connection between the two of them and maintain the water flow to the areas. We did update the stormwater design as well to look at the peak rates and volumes to the vernal pools in consideration of them being identified. We've reduced both the peak rates and volumes to the areas, but do mimic it to the extent practicable, so very close to the deed amount of water, but not over, just to mimic the hydrology to those areas.
I would also point out, if I may, that.
I'm sorry, he introduced you, never mind.
Yeah.
Yep, go ahead.
So
You're good.
I would point out also that any discharges, whether they be surface or subsurface, have been moved at a minimum 100 feet back from those areas. So we tweaked it so that they got moved back. So there is no subsurface discharge of stormwater or above-ground discharge of stormwater within 100 feet of that area. That helps to, number one, meet standard 6. Number 2, it's also designed to address the concerns the commission had about potential sodium contamination. We're going to calcium chloride. It's actually the chloride that you really want to watch out for more than the sodium or the calcium. This actually, with the underground discharges and what we have greater than 100 feet back, there's more than a sufficient distance to contain any potential sodium runoff, or chloride runoff, I should say, rather. And what is going subsurface actually will be contained locally. So there won't be any like hardcore migration of chloride going into the wetland systems at all. So, sorry, Matt. I just wanted to make sure that that point was raised.
Yep, sure. Some other comments I know I was brought up at the initial conservation hearing was there's a proposed dog park. It's small here on the screen, but down kind of the bottom left of the project here. The project has proposed a grass swale to collect runoff that might come off that dog park, and a small rain garden here to collect and treat it in that area. The applicant is also committed to the use of calcium chloride for de-icing. I know there was some questions about salt at the last conservation hearing, so I think that's right on the plans, right in the operation maintenance plan. The applicant's committed to the use of calcium chloride for all de-icing, and also snow storage was a discussion matter with the planning board. one item we did keep in mind and made sure we're proposing snow storage areas is DEP does have a guidance where it's suggested that snow storage areas are more than 50 feet away from a wetland area, just so the meltwater has some area to filter through vegetated surfaces, and all snow storage areas are more than 50 feet from wetland areas. And last, a small item, I know the commission mentioned preference for straw wattle barriers for the erosion control, so we updated the erosion controls around the perimeter as well. Matt, did you want to touch base on some other items, or? I'm good.
Okay, so as the commission can see by the screen here.
Madam Chair, can you get the
Oh,
mic
sorry,
closer?
yeah.
Thank you.
So as the commission can see on the screen here, we have, you can see 4 accentuated blue lines, and what those are critter tunnels. They are the industry standard tunnels that are made to help facilitate continued amphibian migration, whether they be salamanders or any other amphibians. We are using those standard ones. We also have, in the areas that would be put back as landscape, we would have areas, strips that would be basically maintained as, unmowed area, so it would be naturalized, along with areas where we would scatter some artificial construct like logs that would be made that are, used by amphibians for sheltering if they do get into the grassed area. So there's area made for shelter for any amphibian migration. Even though there aren't any endangered species on here, the commission asked us to consider the migration paths going forward. So that's what we did. There's actually plenty of habitat between our lot, including what would be replanted and renaturalized, coming up to about 10 acres worth of green space between what is not touched 50-foot strip and what will be replanted and renaturalized. That's actually pretty decent considering what the development ratios are. So there would be all the migration available regionally that there is now. The stormwater has been designed to maintain the hydro period to the vernal pools so that they will continue uninterrupted like they are. We're not working in the vernal pools, so the Wetland Protection Act standard, the only standard that's really there under the Wetland Protection Act physical-wise is to not go into the pools. So we're not doing any alteration to the pools themselves. In working to maintain the hydro period, working to facilitate upland buffer areas where they can shelter and migrate, and continuing that path actually is more compliant with the proposed regulatory updates that DEP is currently looking at. So if you actually look at some of the DEP proposed revisions to their regulations, they've been sitting around and spinning for a couple of years because there's always a lot of debate that goes into those. If you look at their vernal pool sections and you look at what we've proposed and what we want to accomplish with this pre-construction condition, actually meets the vast majority of what the upgraded standard is. So we're actually meeting a standard that they're proposing right now with the way we've got this project proposed.
Meeting it or nearly meeting it? My mic keeps turning off.
We're meeting approximately 90% of what we're not required to meet.
Okay.
So
Is that still on?
What 10% are you not meeting of what is proposed?
10% that we wouldn't be meeting probably would be, we'd probably add more critter tunnels and facilitate probably just a little bit more habitat, maybe do a no-touch zone. But we have zones around the vernal pools as it is that aren't being touched, but they're off lot. In other words, they're on, if you look at the actual area where the vernal pools are, the vast majority of those pools actually are off lot E on the Target Plaza lot. And those areas are being left as is. They're basically no-touch zones, so.
So you're counting a no-touch zone as something that's not on the property?
No, we're looking at protecting the vernal pools. So I'm looking at it as an overall big picture, especially since the property is owned by the same entity that owns Lot E currently, so.
Are you, anything else? Are you folks done, or what?
I'm done right now.
Just a couple follow-up items.
Sure.
I think I mentioned we've been through the city peer review process, including the independent third-party stormwater peer review. We did receive a pretty lengthy stormwater summary from a separate entity. We provided a written response. Again, if the commission would like us to quickly run through it, we'd be happy to. It's up to the.
Some of the highlights would be good. Yeah, you don't have to go through that.
I'll go
full
quickly.
thing.
Yeah, just do me a favor and slow me down if I'm going.
Yeah.
too quick.
We appreciate that.
Slow down, you're going too quick.
All right, sure. Yeah, so again, I'll go quick, but again, slow me down. There were some questions about plant quality. I think one item I noticed in there is they mentioned that drainage labels would obscure contours and things like that. I think that was one thing we noticed. We did provide separate grading and drainage plans, so I'd agree on the drainage plans, which is here on the right. The labels is a lot of storm structures, a lot of pipes. The contouring could get a little obscured. That's why we did provide a whole separate set of sheets that had just the grading and nothing else, just because we need to highlight ADA areas. There's some specific slope things we need to meet. So we tried to make it as clear as possible while keeping the plans at 1 inch equals 40 scale. And as we get into construction, we'd obviously really detail out like ramps and things like that. But we thought that they were clear, but understand we received the comment. Site conditions, there was just a section in the letter that just referenced the steep slopes, the wet soils, and some of the sandy loam or some finer soils. We have provided a full erosion and sediment control plan, which is the perimeter controls, the temporary seeding, temporary swales, things like that. That'll be mitigated. We'll also note there'll be a full project stormwater pollution prevention plan required and prepared prior to construction, which will really detail that. It will include logs as to inspections, what erosion control measures might be needed where, how to manage equipment on site. The SWIP includes a requirement that there's a person that monitors and provides inspections of the SWIP, I think, just about every week. So there's going to be a thorough erosion control criteria for the project.
And just as a reminder, the commission did ask, and we did agree at the first meeting in August, to have a third-party stormwater protection reviewer also be able to go out on site. So that's also going to be provided as well per the commission's wishes.
Is that somebody can be able to be selected by the city, reporting to the city,
Yes,
and paid for by the applicant?
yes.
For how long?
Probably the life of the project, which you put the money in the 53G, when we run out, we put in more.
When you say life of the project, you mean life of the construction or?
Life of the construction.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not interested so much in the construction, Matt, as the years and years
Yeah,
afterwards.
I was going to get to that later with my questions, so.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm same frame of mind there.
It's not the same thing.
Yeah,
Nor is that what we request.
There was some hydrologic model questioning. One in particular was there's some soils, a small portion of the site is here, kind of in this tan color at the very bottom. It's really just this small area here that NRCS maps as soil C and D. The soils on site, we've done quite a bit of testing, are very tight, a high groundwater table. We assumed D. They had questioned whether we should take a hybrid runoff curve number. We didn't necessarily agree, but just it's a really minor point in our opinion, so we did just update the hydrologic calculations just to update the CN because it was easy to do, and it really wasn't a big impact, and we still meet the post-development peak rate. So just to kind of answer that question, even though we didn't necessarily agree.
Can you explain that soil key?
Yeah.
I'm seeing two different units superimposed here. Can you sort of clarify these?
Yeah, so this area here that's in red,
Yeah.
this is areas on the site that's hydraulic soil group D, so the slowest permeable soils. This area here in tan, this is more than just the project site, but this area I'm circling in with my mouse here. This is hydraulic soil group CD, so it's kind of a hybrid group.
Okay.
This group, these light blue colors are hydraulic soil group C, so there's a really small portion of the site, kind of this little chunk here, in this area down here, near to the intersection of Orchard Hill Park Drive and Pioneer Drive. And this smaller, darker blue area here is hydraulic soil group B.
And the orange letters, what do those indicate?
Those just say which hydraulic soil group they are. So this says hydraulic soil group C, this says hydraulic soil group D, this
Well,
says CD.
no,
You're-
you mean like these numbers here?
Yeah, you got C's and B's where you You got like a 71B where you indicated.
Oh, sure. Yeah, those
Soil
represent.
D, what's going on there?
Yeah,
What's-
those
what's-
numbers represent the specific soil type. So for instance, like Paxton, or there's different soil types that are mapped. And then each soil type has a specific hydraulic soil group. So Paxton soils are less permeable. They have a less permeable hydraulic soil group, and vice versa. So those numbers are just the specific types of soils.
Are these consistent?
Correct, yep. Yeah, they're,
So your 71B is actually a Group D soil?
correct, yep. I can't see the numbers exactly, but the hydraulic soil groups here, this is printed from the same report. They represent the hydraulic soil group of the underlying soil that's mapped there.
Okay.
So, basically, so the B in 71B refers to something different than the D in hydrologic soil group D.
Oh, yeah, sure. So the 71D, the 71 represents the soil type. The D typically represents the slope.
So the letters are
Okay.
referring to different things
Correct.
altogether.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry about
Okay,
that.
I think that was just, all right. All right, proceed, go ahead.
Yeah, sure, no problem. The second hydrologic modeling question is whether we should include vernal pool storage as part of the calculations. Our opinion was that the water levels are gonna vary through there. We've modeled those areas separately as separate, so we can analyze them separately for the standard 6 criteria. But we would operate under the assumption that they're full and they're discharging through the wetlands through here. That said, we thought it was a pretty minor point. We did update the calcs under the assumption there was some storage in here, and it really doesn't impact the post-development runoff rates. So just to further clarify, these two areas here could at times of the year have a little storage if they're not discharging out the wetland channels that come off, and then we modeled the wetland channels themselves out to the ultimate analysis points. Again, it's a pretty minor point. We didn't like the idea of including storage because honestly I feel like someone could take that and do some malicious things with it and say, oh, we have all the storage, we'll use it. But at the same time, we wanted to just at least take a look at it and show that it wasn't going to impact the calculations anyways. Southern vernal pool discharges. You want to take this one, Matt? I'll take it, and Matt, I'm sure I'll jump in if any questions. I think there were some questions about potential pollutant loads or discharges to the southern vernal pool. I think, as Matt had mentioned, we have no discharges within 100 feet of it. All of the treatment BMPs to it are the ones required by the stormwater handbook. So again, it's a deep subfooted catch basins to a proprietary hydrodynamic separator, into a sediment forebay, into a bioretention area, which then discharges over greater than 100 feet of overland flow. So fully meeting criteria, standard 6 of the stormwater handbook.
Can you explain how that deals with the dissolved solids?
Dissolved solids?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I know there's a question relative to phosphorus removal and nitrogen, and this particular.
Well, there was a question, I think it was a hearing in August, you're going to be controlling total suspended solids.
Correct.
In our opinion, didn't quite address what about the dissolved stuff. That's weird.
Yeah, and Matt just mentioned that it was addressed earlier, but I'm just asking for more details because I don't understand the mechanics.
Yeah, sure. To be honest, there's not a great standard for me to hold dissolved materials against in the stormwater handbook, but I will say one of the main treatment measures is the bioretention area, which has root uptake, those types of things. So I don't know if there's really a stormwater BMP I can think of that specifically addresses dissolved solids, but if there is one, it'd be a bioretention area due to vegetation.
If I could jump in. So part of the reason for putting the distances with the 100 feet, it's assumed basically that the 100 feet going over a vegetated area and not a paved area, along with the vast majority of the stormwater actually being subsurfacely discharged, would actually attenuate any dissolved solids that would go out. So distance, localization being completed with underground infiltrator storage, think of like septics, okay? Septic system goes to a leach field, all of the dissolved solids in the wastewater wind up having filtration action by the soil. Same principle here with the underground discharges. Above ground discharge is a smaller localized discharge than what the infiltrators are handling. With the distance being 100 feet and the fact that it's going through vegetation, you're not going to have stormwater going to that great a clip that's going to cause something to go in so fast as there would be no attenuation by the vegetation. So That's the principle involved in that.
Okay.
This first thing I did when you started talking about dissolved solids, and then with the vernal pool issues, go back 100 feet. So technically, all the discharges on this part of the wetland system where the vernal pools are actually out of the buffer zone too, because we conservatively assumed the edge of the vernal pool going onto Lot E to be the edge of the delineated wetland. So.
And I have a, you all set?
I have a follow-up question. So with the amphibian tunnels, do those count as like points of discharge?
No.
Okay. Okay.
You all set?
Yep.
Okay.
Because
And-
it's overland flow, there's no stormwater. It's all overland flow. So if water does go through them, it's not coming off of runoff from a parking lot or anything like that. It's considered overland flow. So.
I have a question, as long as it's up on the screen now. This may be touching on the finer point, more on the finer points of geochemistry than I probably am comfortable with. But please explain why calcium chloride is better than sodium chloride. And also, Matt, if I heard you correctly, you said that the critical part is not the sodium or the calcium, but the chloride. I think that's what you said.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Please explain that, because I'm not a geochemist. I'd like to know more about that.
So essentially, the reason why, we first agreed to calcium chloride, actually it'd be a little bit better from a water quality standpoint than sodium chloride.
Oh, Matt, can you get the mic?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. The cable TV guy is telling me.
So essentially what ends up happening when those particular, like solids, like the de-icing, gets hit by water or it gets hit by melt, and it starts melting and it gets dissolved, the calcium part and the chloride part will disassociate into their individual ions.
Right.
The ion that actually is more of a concern than what is in front of the chloride, like the sodium. The sodium's more of a concern like for wells, drinking wells, surface wells, because you get too much sodium in your diet, you get high blood pressure, okay? Either that or if you have a lot of kids, you get high blood pressure too, but that's beside the point. The chloride part of it is the anionic part, that anions in the environment, the chloride, have a tendency to just kind of wreak a little bit more havoc on wildlife in general, especially like anything ranging from microbial to amphibian and on up if it starts breaking up the cycle. So to attenuate this, we moved everything away to 100 feet. And that's actually
What do you mean by everything?
like all of the stormwater discharges.
Okay, all right.
None of the stormwater discharges are within 100 feet of, can you put that back up? So those two vernal pools right there, there's no stormwater discharges itself within 100 feet of those areas. So there's going to be no direct calcium outwash, no direct chloride outwash. We're just going to keep that greater than 100 feet away.
So parking lots are pitched the other way? Is that- among
Parking
other things?
lots have hardware that, catch basins, et cetera, that everything will be
Okay.
pitched to.
Effectively, to clarify about this infiltration, that's going to occur somewhere between a retention basin and the wetland, yes?
I'm sorry, what were you asking? So I'm confused.
The infiltration that you're alluding to, that's going to happen somewhere between the retention basin and the wetland, yes?
Actually, did you want to point out where the infiltrators are?
Yeah, can you indicate these geographically?
Sure, which ones you're looking for, the
Any
barging,
of them? No, the infiltrators.
like the
Anything
subsurface?
subsurface.
Yeah, sure. I can pull up another plan later, but there's a subsurface basin here in this area here, under the driveway. One under this area here between these two buildings, and one over here between these two buildings. And then there's more further on the other side of the site as well. But
By infiltrators, you basically mean those subsurface, basically gravel areas with plastic half domes in them?
Nope, they're going to be big concrete detention structures, so,
Oh.
yeah, they're
Oh.
about 5.5 feet
Oh,
tall.
all right,
Yep.
thinking of something
Big,
different, okay.
big boxes in the
Big
in the
concrete
earth.
boxes,
Yes.
yep.
Okay, all right.
And can you clarify what happens to the stormwater between the retention basin and the wetland?
Sure. As far as the vernal pools, there is nothing that discharges from any of those to this one. For this vernal pool here, the water from this parking lot area here will go into a deep sump-putted catch basin. From that, it'll go through a hydrodynamic separator, which is kind of a proprietary device that separates pollutants through that motion. It'll discharge here to a sediment forebay, pre-treatment to a large bioretention area, which is the bioretention area soil media with an underdrain beneath it. Once it filters through there, it'll come out to the vegetated area, and then, as Matt mentioned, it'll surface flow ultimately to the wetland.
Thank you.
Is that
Matt?
near, sorry, Chuck, when you were just mousing over the screen, is that near one of the culverts, Animal Crossings, to the, I guess it would be what, the east of that road, that bioretention before it crosses underneath toward the vernal pool?
Correct, yeah, there's a culvert under the road here, and then the amphibian crossing would be a little upgrading of that, but under the same general area.
Okay, so there would be stormwater in that same area as similar to where the wetland crossing would be located?
Yeah, sure. The whatever filters through the media would come through an underdrain, and then it would come through. So it'd be like the very smaller, whatever can infiltrate through the soils. Any larger events would discharge through either the larger outlet control structure.
Okay, thank you.
Matt, I want to go back to the calcium and sodium and chloride, because it was stated that chloride would be the problem, and part of the solution was to switch not just to the 100-foot, but was to switch to the calcium chloride. You're still adding the chloride.
Yeah,
And-
well, no matter what you do for de-icer, it's gonna have chloride unless you find some type of.
Would a
brine
calcium magnesium acetate work? I've heard they're biodegradable, not as persistent in the environment as a chloride or a sodium.
What is it again, Jordan?
Calcium magnesium acetate.
solution. It's basically just another, it's basically.
It's another salt,
It's
basically.
also pet friendly too.
With the calcium, of course, it's the dose will be different. You'll be using less, let's say on a molar basis, though it's not a solution. Because for every calcium, you got 2 chlorides. With every sodium, you got 1. So I'm not seeing how that changed the chloride dosing at all.
No, I mean, I suppose the magnesium substitute probably wouldn't be out of the question. It really wouldn't make much of a difference across the years anyway. It is very effective.
Yeah, that's what, I'm not familiar with that one. As far as, but with the vernal pools, there's none of the stormwater is directed toward them, correct?
No.
It's all going elsewhere. So does that by any chance deprive them of water that they would have otherwise? Because that water would normally be going into the dirt and then flowing through the dirt? Because those are supplied, their water mostly through groundwater transport,
Yep. Yeah.
groundwater recharge. It sounded to me like it would, all this pavement would deprive those vernal pools, since none's going there. So I often get torn here. Do we want more water in the wetland? Do we want less water in the wetland? Which is going to do more harm?
Yep, sure.
And it's not always clear.
Yeah, but if there's not enough water, it's not going to be a vernal pool anymore.
Exactly, yeah, and, yeah, we did take a look at that. That was part of the stormwater updates per standard 6, and that's a delicate balance to try to match, and like I said, we did it to the maximum extent practicable. So for this vernal pool down here, we did include the discharge through the soil media, as previously noted, through the overland flow, just to help mimic the volumes of peak flows. So we're reducing peak flows and slightly reducing volumes, but we're trying to match it as much as possible.
But you're still letting recharge go through the ground to get to them, so that they maintain some liquid, right?
Yeah, sure, both volume from stormwater and then whatever recharges in the grassed areas and then through the overland flow. And the same with this vernal pool here. In order to mimic the hydrology, we did propose a culvert through here, so all the water which is in the wooded area here west of the site or planned north of the site would be collected and just come through here. That's just to mimic the hydrology in that direction as well.
So it's basically like, when you cross a wetland that doesn't have a stream, for example, just to kind of give you an analogy, when you cross a wetland that doesn't have a stream, engineers will design culverts to me.
Oh,
I'm doing it again, sorry, thank you. So when you have a wetland crossing that doesn't involve a stream crossing, and it's just going over BVW to do access, engineers will often put in, like, culvert pipes to establish a hydraulic connection to allow the water from one side to continue. And then, you guys have approved them in the past. Most commissions have, where you have pipes that are sized properly to allow the hydraulic connectivity to be maintained. It's the very same principle here. So we're taking water that's flowing off the upland biota that's previously forested area and allowing it to continue to go to where it's going now, which is designed to address the concern you just expressed. Plus, I would also point out the fact that a lot of that site, as he just outlined for you, there is going to be groundwater infiltrators to handle stormwater. It's not, while the sediment and any dissolved solids will be attenuated there, you got to keep in mind the water is just going to continue to flow underground too. So we're maintaining the groundwater hydrology by treating it with groundwater infiltrators.
I appreciate the answer. I'm not quite sure that the comparison of a wetland crossing is the same as to a vernal pool, simply because if a wetland has a little bit less, a little more water, it's still going to be a wetland. But if a vernal pool has not enough water, it's not going to be a vernal pool anymore. So we're very concerned about these.
The point, Mr. Chair, was to say that we're maintaining a very similar connectivity to what is there now. So the whole point is to not deprive the pools of water and also not to make it so pointed that it winds up flooding them out too.
Right.
So the design maintains the same hydro period, okay? When you work out all the engineering calculations, maintains the same hydro period. And by hydro period, it means the ability of the vernal pools to hold water during that part of the breeding season. So it's maintaining like the same hydro period that it is now.
Yeah.
The numbers might be slightly different, but they're not that much different that it's going to deprive the hydro period.
Okay.
So,
I believe your estimates were some 10% reduction in the,
Depending on the storm.
and from industry standard and design standards under the Wetland Protection Act, it's pretty insignificant.
this sounds pretty similar, a 10% reduction. Thank you.
I have a question. You were talking about a hydrodynamic separators. Is that the correct term?
Yeah.
You said it was going to filter out pollutants.
Yep.
And what happens to those pollutants that get filtered out? I don't know what these separators are, so if you could
Yeah.
educate me on that.
Yeah, sure. It's a pre-treatment device. So it'll have a sump similar to a catch basin, although there's a flow.
I'm sorry, did you say a sump?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, similar to like a catch basin. So there's a treatment device up above, and it drops the solids down. So it'd be cleaned out like a catch basin. It would sit in the sump, and they'd have to clean
Oh,
it out.
so it has to be manually cleaned out?
Correct. Yep.
And is there something in the O&M manual about that?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Vortex too.
Um,
Using a vortex separator.
Using hydrostorms, but yeah, very similar treatment mechanism.
Okay.
Pivoting back to maintaining moisture in those vernal
Just
pools.
no,
Sorry.
I want you to finish your question, but I also want to make sure that he's able to go through the comments. So, but,
Sure.
yeah, go ahead.
Um,
Sorry, I didn't probably lost your train of thought.
no, it's there. Oh, the surface runoff portion that's going to be feeding into those systems, are we concerned about temperature, the change in temperature from something that's coming off over a paved area, and how that is going to impact the vernal pool's ability to do what it does?
Do you want to address that? Well, I mean, I'll take a stab at it. If there's anything you need to add, let me know. So normally what winds up happening, the temperature issue on a development like this winds up happening with what they call first flush.
Yeah.
So if you wind up having, a hot day and then you have a rain event, the spike temperature is going to be in the first flush. The way these systems are designed, that first flush is held for a period that is long enough. When the remaining water comes in, it helps to cool it down, and it helps to control the temperature to keep temperature spikes from occurring in those wetlands.
But that's just in the infiltration basins, correct?
No, it's in all of it. It's the same thing with the bioretention basins as well.
Right.
That's the way they're designed.
Okay.
Matt, you can go into the design if you want.
Yeah,
So that first flush doesn't come out right away?
No, it
It
does
stays there while the rest of the water comes in
That
and
is
fills it
correct.
up and allows dilution to be your solution of the temperature.
That's the way the standard is applied, yes.
And I will say there's no paved surfaces discharging to this vernal pool, the northern one. None of the parking area, anything to this vernal pool would be through the treatment mechanism I ran through earlier, which is through the system, through the sediment forebay, through the bioretention area, through the media, out the media, and then out the overland flow for greater than 100 feet. So there's quite a bit of time there. It's the first flush and then some for the detention time.
Right. Well, we said that those infiltration basins aren't the only things that are feeding the vernal pools. Those aren't the only things that are maintaining the water there, right? So the other ways that water is being maintained in the vernal pool, I'm trying to get a sense of whether or not changes in temperature from those sources is going to be problematic. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I guess to answer your question, that is similar to this vernal pool here. The source of water, aside from groundwater, would be from the wooded areas planned north of the site, so nothing from a paved surface. A small portion of the water feeding this vernal pool here is through that treatment drain that I mentioned, so cooled through the first flush, through the soil media, and then overland flow to the vernal pool.
Okay.
Continue?
Yeah, please go.
Yes, please.
Yeah, that's where we were.
Yep, yeah, southern vernal pool, I think we covered that one, but happy
Yeah.
to come back to it. The northern pool, I think we covered it. Wildlife movement, I know, Matt, you discussed that in pretty good length as part of the opening. Do you want to touch on that more, or?
No, I mean, I'm sure that it'll come up again.
While we're here, amphibian tunnels. Appreciate those being put in. I think those are critical. You said they meet the standard. I think you've heard a lot of questions, both from us and from the abutters and other interested parties, that the vernal pools and the associated wildlife that is necessarily critical part of those habitats is one of our biggest concerns. I think we would appreciate when it comes to the amphibian tunnels, if there's any way you can go beyond the minimum requirements, because this is critical to us and everybody here. So I think there's some way, I don't know whether is it bigger, is it wider, I don't know how you can go.
The size is actually more than sufficient. If you want to do something to,
There you go.
well, I always think my big mouth is big enough, so.
In most
sorry.
cases it is, but
Yeah.
I'm getting my direction from the guy in the booth, so.
Anyway, the size is sufficient. The areas where they're coming out and surfacing are sufficient. If you want to increase the standard on those, then we should add one or two more. And that wouldn't be a problem if you wanted to add a condition for us to add two more.
What's the diameter of those?
Matt, I don't remember the exact diameter. You submitted the
Yeah,
detail.
they were rectangular. I want to say they were 24 inches.
Yeah, okay, so they're 2 feet wide.
Are
24
they
inches.
sloped?
Yeah, they would be sloped from one end to the other, just to match the topography.
Okay.
And so
Is that going to be
20
sloped towards the vernal pools or away from them?
For the most part, towards.
Towards? Okay.
We also have critter tunnels that are going beside each wetland crossing,
Okay.
the limited project crossings to access the uplands. We have critter tunnels, 2 of the critter tunnels are going through those. So that even though we're adding in culverts that are sized properly, we're adding the critter tunnels beside those to continue any migratory paths to those. We're also, you got to remember too, we're also adding natural vegetated strips in the landscape area. We're going to add shelter areas where, basically amphibians like to go to get out of Dodge for a little while. We're also taking the lighting that's on the site and we're doing the nighttime amphibian-based lighting. It's often used for turtle and amphibian migration so that because they're nocturnal, the light won't disrupt their cycles. That's what they're designed for.
I've seen those. That makes sense.
Well, somebody actually, one of the abutters at the first meeting brought that up about the nocturnal, and I thought that actually was an excellent point. So I talked to my client and the team about that, and they agreed to those, so.
Follow-up question. I'm sorry to kick a dead horse with this. I'm having trouble getting it through this thick skull up here. So you've got this migration tunnel, right, sloped towards the vernal pool. It's not a discharge point.
It's not a discharge point. You gotta realize that you're talking an extremely mild slope. You're not talking like a 8% slope.
But it's enough to direct anything. Like, how is there not water getting into it that's gonna be sloping and then discharging at the vernal pool?
Stormwater, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, runoff,
It would be overland flow only.
That's correct. It's all overland flow.
Because it's coming to the surface, here's the vernal pool, it's coming up to a surface, and that's not paved.
Okay. Okay.
So what's the bottom of this amphibian tunnel? Is it concrete or is it gravel? What's the bottom of this? What's the surface they'd actually walk
You
on?
have the spec.
Yeah, it's typically, as I understand it, an organic material with some leaf litter, so not a concrete. I think the tunnel itself, the concrete would have a bottom for integrity, but the bottom surface would be like an organic soil.
An organic soil?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the
Yeah,
top,
It would have to be, kind of like
Yeah.
when you do, again, sorry for the stream crossing analogy.
Okay.
But it's something that I think we can all relate to picture-wise.
Mhm.
So if you have.
Matt, your mic.
Matt, would you get your mic?
Sorry.
I'm sorry, I keep doing that. When you're doing stream crossings and you don't do a three-sided, box culvert, you do a regular culvert, you make it wider and you bury the bottom and put the natural bottom back on top of it.
Yep.
It's the same effect.
Similar to that? Okay.
How long are these tunnels? Critter highways?
They range a little bit from around 30 to 40 feet, I would think.
Okay, and you mentioned they're 24-inch by, what, I only caught the one dimension.
Let me double check because I was
Please
kind of
do.
winging it on that.
And as I move on with that, are these need maintenance? How are the ends plugged so little kids don't crawl through them?
They do have cages on them, wide enough for the amphibians to go through, but not enough for kids to, and they're very small openings, so,
Was it like 6, 8, 10 inches, something like that?
no, it's a little bit bigger than that, but it's not big enough for like a child to crawl into.
Unless somebody rips off the end grading.
If they want to. I mean, as a child who's fit into some tight places, I never underestimate a determined mind.
Are these, the maintenance of these, is that included in your stormwater maintenance plan?
Well, it's not considered part of the
Or
stormwater
or
system.
something?
I realize that, but it's a maintenance plan, and people are gonna be out looking at things. It would make sense to include that with it. I would like to see a maintenance plan for these.
All right, if the commission wishes to add it in as a condition, that we'll do a maintenance plan, and we'll review it with Jesse to go, through the maintenance plan. There probably are maintenance specifications that come with each tunnel, so
Yeah.
we'll incorporate those.
Inspections and maintenance. Yeah.
these features are open to the rain in the surface, yes?
No, they're under the road.
The amphibians won't use it unless they can feel the rain.
They're not gonna feel it in the tunnel. It's a tunnel.
Yeah, typically a salamander road crossing has holes in it so that the animals can feel the moisture, and if it's dry, they won't use it. So that needs to be part of the design if these features are going to be effective for
Yeah, well, I'm
wildlife.
sure it's part of the design.
Okay, so they will get,
Yeah, it's possible.
okay, so they will get some daylight effectively or water.
Well, yeah, I
from
mean,
the- yeah.
we can't just say we're gonna put in critter tunnels and then just bury them so that they can't access them.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that's
Matt,
part of the,
Your mic.
oh, your mic, yeah.
Yeah, the short answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
Good point, Nick. Thank you very much.
But going back to Stephanie's point, not too much water that they act as stormwater features.
Yep.
Okay.
We'll make sure there's something that collects the stormwater upgraded to them so they're not getting any surface runoff into them.
Thank you.
I think that's my cue.
Yes.
Groundwater recharge was certainly covered in that letter. The Mass DEP Stormwater Handbook requires groundwater recharge to the maximum extent practicable in sites that have C and D soils. This particular site has quite a bit of hydraulic soil group C soils. Actually, over 70% of the site is hydraulic soil group D, and Mass DEP wouldn't allow infiltration in those areas. So we did provide recharge. It's provided via an infiltration basin here at this portion of the site closest to Orchard Hill Park Drive and the Pioneer Drive intersection. That was really the only area we had when we went out and tested that was really feasible based on either topography, groundwater levels, soil types, things along those lines. So we did meet it to the maximum extent practicable. The other areas where we have hydraulic soil group D, we have the proposed detention structures, which will have a very small orifice, a 1 or 2 inch orifice at the bottom that very slowly releases the storm. In my appearance, it's actually a little bit more costly to build it that way because it'll have a concrete bottom, but it's better. If we were to propose it as high infiltration basins, they're not going to infiltrate. The soils just don't support it, so they're going to be full of water. So we'd rather appropriately, very slowly leak it out in those areas, the hydraulic soil group D areas. Any questions on that?
What's the vertical space you're gonna have for that infiltration? Like, what's groundwater at versus where's the bottom of this infiltration basin sitting, the structure?
Sure, yep, that's next.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Very
Good
I think
segue.
that's- yeah.
This was one of the issues that,
Oh, it's not next, but it's coming.
yeah, this standard 3, or condition 3 of the
Yep.
stormwater handbook, you're going to address that next, thank you.
Yep, that's part of standard 3, and then there was a couple more comments relative to standard 3 as well.
Yeah.
There was a question about some volume retention and phosphorus requirements of the Leominster Stormwater Ordinance. This project is actually exempt from that ordinance. There's a provision in there that any project that is Wetlands Protection Act jurisdictional and meets compliance with the Mass Stormwater Handbook standards isn't applicable under that ordinance. And the state doesn't require phosphorus removal only in very specific cases with TMDLs that require it. That said, some of our treatment structures do provide phosphorus removal, like infiltration basins and bioretention areas, but there isn't a specific requirement for that. Again, sorry, it's coming way later, I guess. Runoff volume. There was also comments about runoff volume. That's not always able to be maintained. There is no Mass DEP Stormwater Handbook requirement for that. Really, the only way to reduce volume is to infiltrate stormwater. So we have infiltrated to the maximum extent practical, but there is some increase in volume. I think there was quite a summary in the letter relative to volume. It's just it's not a standard per the Stormwater Handbook, and as I said, the soils don't really allow for additional infiltration. Now, this is the one you were talking about. This is the stormwater infiltration basin over here. There were a couple comments relative to that. One was groundwater mounding. I think you folks are probably well aware, but what it is when water infiltrates through a basin, the water goes down and then out through the basin. You'll kind of get like a bell under the basin. The Stormwater Handbook requires a groundwater mounding analysis just to make sure that that mound isn't going to impact the basin for subsequent storm events and things like that. We did run the mounding analysis. We can provide it. I think it must have not been in the latest stormwater report, which is why we got the comment, but we have it and we're happy to provide it. It doesn't impact the basin. Secondly, there was a question relative to groundwater separation. This basin is installed on a slight slope here as the existing topography comes down. The bulk of the basin does meet the 2-foot separation, although if I'm being completely honest, if I were to take a section of the ground here at the very high end of the basin, it's a little under that. So we're happy to raise that up just so it's met everywhere, which is a more conservative way, and it doesn't impact the hydraulic calculations whatsoever. It's just picking it up a foot to meet that.
Jesse, how would we work that into a condition?
What, just seeing that analysis?
Yeah, what did you say about that one corner there? You'd be glad
We
to what?
just picked the whole basin up a foot or so to get it above.
Is that something
So
we need to
that
write,
there's
is that something we need to write into a condition?
We'd be happy to commit to that for sure. We're not going to change the volume of it whatsoever.
So how should we do this? How would we word that?
It would be pending submittal of a plan where that basin bottom is raised up, you know, as described.
Basin bottom raised up as described?
Tell me again why you want to raise it.
Sure, so the bulk of the basin meets the groundwater separation. Again, I don't want to be disingenuous. If you were to take the very conservative approach, which I think I would typically want to do, if you take a look at this corner here and you kind of interpolate the groundwater level there, this does not quite meet the 2-foot separation, so we would just propose picking it up just to get it so it's well above the groundwater at every location.
Where is this in the plan?
This is at
Down here.
Orchard Hill Park Drive and Pioneer Drive, so right at the very end.
The northern?
Yep.
extent?
Northeast corner.
Northeast corner,
Yep.
okay. This is the one in the type C soil? Yeah.
Correct, exactly right. Yep.
How do you know what those groundwater levels are? I assume it varies through the year. So
Yep, yeah, sure, so.
what testing have you done to be able to identify that for this to be practical?
Yeah, sure. The stormwater regulations require a mass licensed soil evaluator determine the soil elevation. So that's done through soil modeling or soil redoxamorphic features.
Did you measure the groundwater levels?
Correct, yes, we did. And we
You
did it
did?
based on the seasonal high groundwater. So we wouldn't go with the water that we saw that day. It would be based on the soil modeling and the soil material where the high.
I'm not asking about modeling, sir. I'm asking about actual measurements only.
Yeah, we took, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the modeling's more conservative, which is why I
During
mentioned it.
spring?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. There were quite a few comments relative to the bioretention areas and how they operate. Again, I'm sure folks are aware, but there are two types of bioretention areas, exfiltrating and non-exfiltrating. And exfiltrating bioretention would have the soil media, maybe a stone layer underneath, and then that water would infiltrate into the ground. On this particular site, we unfortunately don't have that option, so the other option is a non-exfiltrating, so it would have the soil media, the stone, but that stone would have an underdrain in it, and that underdrain would discharge it out. So that's how all our bioretention areas are designed. The questions we received relative to the spillway and the berm heights, those are detailed on the detail sheets, the elevations of the spillways and the berm heights, and the plans match the hydrologic calcs and the design intention. The other question was relative to lining them. We did model them pretty conservatively, so typically what we would do is we would model the soil media as having a limited void ratio, so there is some storage there in the media and the stone as the water comes through and discharges out. As we were going through the city's peer review process through the independent peer reviewer, he did ask, one, if they should be lined, and two, if they're not, to not model the soil media. We would propose doing both. We didn't include the soil media volume in our hydrologic calculations just to be a little conservative. We do propose an underdrain, and they're not designed to infiltrate. I think honestly the reason there was so many comments on there is that a little additional spec on that liner would be appropriate before it goes into construction, and we'll make sure that gets added to the plans as far as it'd be a polyethylene liner around the soil media.
Any questions on that? Go ahead.
Is this the liner underneath the basin?
Yep, yeah, the
you're
liner,
talking about?
if you see this dark line here underneath, this would be the soil media.
Yep.
There would be stone under drain here. This would be the perforated pipe that collects it and ultimately discharges it out. And then the liner would be this dark line here, which wraps around, it would wrap around the entire area to keep groundwater out and to keep the water in and discharge through the under drain.
Yeah, so this would allow no infiltration effectively.
Exactly right, yep. Yeah, and to be conservative, we assumed that there was no volume there, but again, we would propose them to be lined as well. So.
Would you be able to increase infiltration without a liner in a significant way?
Unfortunately, no, just given the very high groundwater table and the soils can't support it, we wouldn't want to.
Yeah, it's already
We wouldn't want to not
saturated.
line it, yeah.
So you're too close to the groundwater surface
Correct, yeah,
Yes.
everywhere on the site, unfortunately, yeah, it's very high.
Everywhere on the site.
everywhere. How close are these features to the resource areas?
Sure, I don't have an exact measurement, but at the closest, it looks like it's about 10 to 15 feet. For this particular one, this is probably the closest.
10 to 15 feet? Didn't we need 50 feet, a minimum of 50 feet by Mass DEP?
Mass DEP requires a minimum of 50 feet for infiltrating basins.
So because these are not infiltrating basins,
They're not required to be.
they're not,
Yeah.
okay. Okay?
So wait, I'm sorry, if this is a non-infiltrating basin, then what is the point? What is it doing?
It's treating.
Okay.
Yeah, the treatment's through the plant uptake of the bioretention area. There's a 24-inch depth of soil media for filtration.
Okay.
And then, so they're a treatment mechanism.
Perfect, thank you, sorry.
Mass DEP comments, I think those were outlined again in the letter. I think there were some questions relative to construction seeding, groundwater, wildlife. I think as far as the closest thing that we're building near the wetlands is probably the retaining walls. They'll be built entirely from the uphill side, obviously not from the downhill side with the wetlands. So the limit of work will be established in the field prior to construction, not crossed over, and they can build the walls from the uphill side and stack them and bring them up as they build it. And then again, some of the stuff we've already kind of touched base on, the hydrology to the vernal pools and the wildlife study, or the wildlife connectivity. And a wildlife study is not required for the wetlands protection.
So the advantage of the wall being built from the upland side is that you don't have construction equipment any closer to the resource area than need be?
Correct, yeah, we usually leave a 5-foot or so buffer from the limit of work to the wall, just because there'll be a little bit of like putting the stone down and placing the blocks, but the wall will be completely from the upside, so the equipment can't get around the downhill side and build it from that side. Cool. Just there was a general summary of the project does meet the stormwater habitat standards. I think the design does meet all the stormwater standards. There is no ordinance requirement where we're exempt. The vernal pool and habitat protections met. Mauro mentioned earlier exceed the requirements, and that we've reduced peak flows for all storm events. I said I'd be quick, and that ended up being a long time. So, but I just think it was a good discussion. Sweet and Matt, did you want to touch? I think Matt already touched base with
I already touched base on this, about how we're,
The mic,
Microphone?
the mic.
Microphone?
yeah, doing it again. Sorry, guys. This is basically what I had touched on earlier. So my old eyes can't really see all of that from there, so I'll pull up my own here.
Okay.
So when you look at it, we evaluated the functional upland habitat, not just buffer distance. We're maintaining the hydrology and the hydroperiod for both pools. The site actually winds up preserving 10 acres of green space, pre and post development, to facilitate amphibian habitat and movement corridors. So we're integrating the critter tunnels and naturalized area to enhance the wildlife movement, make sure that it's preserved, continues post-development like it would do pre-development now. Keep in mind that a lot of these standards that I'm quoting aren't currently in the Wetland Protection Act. They're not required. The only time they're required is if we were in a priority habitat, which we're not. But we're doing it anyway, and it is something I actually advocate for. We're avoiding thermal and chemical impacts. We've provided a clear narrative to you guys on the productivity movement and the habitat function here. This revised proposal already meets about 90% of DEP's proposed regulation revisions. The upland buffer zone that we spoke about earlier is probably one of the ones that's going to be knocked out if any of these even go in. The reason why I say that is because the ear to the ground, and the role I have as a regulator as well, what I'm hearing in the industry is that there's a lot of pushback because a lot of what they're asking for in the new regulations actually is conflicting with the governor's housing initiatives. So you may see a lot of pushback. If anything, this actually can help to show that what the DEP wants to do for the most part actually could be possible, even though it's being subject to a lot of pushback right now. So.
I think that just about covers it, unless there's any items folks would like us to circle
Oh,
back
well,
on.
we'll have questions.
Oh, I'm sure.
Can I,
I just want to make sure, are you guys all set?
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
can I ask a question on one thing you just said, Matt?
Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
You said that the proposal would allow some 10 acres of green space. How much of the lot is presently resource area in acreage?
What is it, about 4 acres?
Yeah, to be honest, I don't have that exact number off.
I think it's around 4 acres.
4 acres and, you're-
By Richard's area, you're talking about the vernal pools and the BBW?
I'm talking about, the whole thing, BBW.
the
full
BBW,
It's
the-
about 3-4 acres.
3-4 acres, and you're proposing to develop some 7 and change acres, yes?
That's correct.
Okay, so that would leave how much upland area?
I haven't measured I don't have those figures. I had those figures, actually, now that you say that. I don't have them in front of me.
So the math isn't, if there's, you're suggesting there's some substantial upland area still.
No, what I'm saying is there's substantial habitat.
Well, if you've got those, if we got an 18-acre site and we got 11 and change, or I'm sorry, 7 plus being developed, that should leave some 10
11.
or 11. And if only 4 are wetland, that would leave
7.
7 as upland. Is that correct? And if so, where are they?
Okay, can you zoom in on that?
Sorry if I make everybody seasick.
You're gonna have to really, okay, so zoom in on the southerly side right now. Okay, just move it over to the right a little bit. So here's the entrance coming off of Harvard Street. That's your post-development condition right there. So all the light green is going to be landscape and naturalized area. All of the dark green spaces is stuff that's not being touched. So you have that acreage that's going to be there. You have the entrance parking lot to a building, and then a building and a roadway. So you can see that you've got development tucked in between the green space. Now, if you move it over to the left a little bit, keep going. So there is the entrance that would, or at least part of the entrance that will be coming off of, go up a little bit, Matt. No, down, I'm sorry. So what you've got is the entrance coming in on the other direction. So you've got your preserved green space in dark green. You've got your landscaped areas going around the buildings, going around the periphery, adjacent to the 50-foot strip. There's forested, preserved area abutting the development in and of itself, but that, we're not counting that in the acreage, but I'm making note that it is there. But that's where all your green space is. You can see around the wetland crossing that's right there in that parking area. The dark green is going to be green, preserved green space and replication area. The light green area is going to be replanted area. You've got landscape, you've got unmowed habitat strips that we're going to leave over in that area.
You mean it like that right there?
Yep, that's correct. So that's, that's where all your green space is. It's meandering in with the development. And we're siting it in such a way that we're using the critter tunnels to try to take advantage of all of that green space there to make a continuous migration corridor.
You're suggesting that there will be upland habitat effectively available to these amphibians?
There'll be upland habitat available to these
On the
amphibians
front, yeah.
regionally. It's there now.
Regionally, but also on the
Correct.
the parcel to
But
be
you can't
post-developed.
you can't talk about the upland habitat without kind of talking about it regionally, because there's movement from the habitat all over the area. So we've got to make sure, what we're doing is we're making sure that that integrity, both on the site and regionally, is maintained for the migration corridor. You got to remember, the migration is going to happen in 2 different directions. They're going to go from the vernal pool, and they're going to go to the vernal pool.
That's right.
It's going to happen in 2 different directions. So we want to make sure that that traffic flow, for no other better term to put it, is maintained.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, if I could. So I had 3 main concerns here. One of them is protection of vernal pools. You can tell it's kind of important to, thank you, pretty much everybody in this room. I think you've addressed that pretty well. I think we still have some judgment differences, but I think you've covered it pretty well. The critical, the other 2 parts for me are even more critical than that. Let's say we get this thing approved, we get it built. That was 20 years down the road. Anybody that was involved in this project 20 years before is gone, or too old to give a crap anymore. What you've got now is a bunch of snowplow drivers taking salt and pollutant-laden snow putting it in the first place they see, which is probably right towards the vernal pools. How do we keep that from happening? I know we never say never, or you can't take into account everything. But I'd like to see an O&M plan for how this site is going to be managed 30 years from now, 50 years from now, without filling in that vernal pool or making it so toxic or so dry that they'll never get used again. I'd like you to comment on that. What kind of O&M plan is this thing going to have that has teeth in it?
And what's the duration?
And what's the duration, correct?
Well, I mean, you know, you can take an O&M plan. I'm sorry, guys. I keep forgetting that.
Good job.
Yeah, there's only two here. So, can I take your microphone? It doesn't reach.
Show up.
Slide down.
All right, so what we've got here is you guys have the ability to do that through your order of conditions. An O&M plan is only as good as it's maintained in institutional memory. And the
Correct.
best way to maintain that in institutional memory is to make it a perpetual condition on the deed of the property. So say, for example, 20 years from now, Wood Partners decides they want to sell the property. Your perpetual condition on that deed is going to stick out like a sore thumb.
All right.
And I can tell you, you know, for fact, and in my experiences as both a consultant and a regulator, I often encounter those sore thumbs. Any perpetual condition on a deed sticks right out.
I appreciate that idea, and that's a good one. And again, maybe I'm touching on something here that really can't be addressed in a meeting like this, is that snowplow driver who wants to get the hell out of there in 2086.
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock in the morning.
He wants to get the hell out of there. Where do I put the snow? Screw that snowplow area over there. I'm just going to dump it in here. We don't want that to happen. And chances are there's nothing we can do here to keep that from happening.
Unless you fence it and block them.
Something. That honestly, that's my main concern.
If you
As the property owner, is that you give a flying crap enough to keep this from happening when you're dead and gone and somebody else has owned this place.
No, I understand the concern and share it. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how to
Yeah, you
address,
can't.
you know, what you're saying as well, is how do you address that?
Can we do anything about it? Nah, probably not, but it's a major concern. I can't speak for these people, but for me anyway.
No, we totally understand. Again, if I'm open to ideas, but I'm not sure how, other than the O&M in perpetual, I guess you call it a deed, attached to a deed, whatever that, term
Perpetual
might be.
condition.
Perpetual
attached to the
condition,
deed.
thank you. That we would adhere to, and we would obviously pass along to any future owner. I'm not sure how to address your comment otherwise.
Yeah.
Okay, if I could. So, Mr. Chair, take a look at the rendering behind you. So, what you're seeing is the area where the parking is, where the roadway is. There is no real direct area where they're going to actually dump in those vernal pools per se, because the area right here behind this pool is basically green space. You're going to have a preserve strip over here. You're going to have like a wall over here.
Matt, if I can interrupt,
Go ahead.
because I'm gonna anyway. Snowplow driver coming down here, cleans lots up. You shove this down here.
Mhm.
I guarantee it's gonna happen time and time again. We don't want that
No
to
place else
happen.
for it to go.
So it's areas like this that you would want to concentrate on.
And I don't think it completely answers your question. I think probably the condition helps answer the other half. But we did, when we looked at the snow storage areas, extend guardrails in areas we wouldn't necessarily propose them. So for instance, that area just highlighted, I believe the guardrail extends between these two walls all the way through. In addition to some of the other wetland crossings, we did extend the guardrails. I mean, the condition still makes sense because someone could, I guess, smash a guardrail, but
But
it
a
does.
guardrail's a step to help.
Exactly, yeah, I'm not saying it completely.
Can you point out those snow storage areas again?
Sure, yeah, they're all 50 feet away, so it's going to be the areas through here, off the parking lot here, largely in this area here, off the Page North side.
Yeah, I don't see them adhering to
Oh,
that at
they're
all.
not, yeah, they're not on this plan. I can pull up the plan that shows it. Bear with me, there's a lot of sheets.
A lot of data layers there, huh?
Yep, so here, so these areas here along this side, it's this hashed kind of oval area here. These areas here along the edge of this parking, this area here off this edge of the drive aisle, small areas here near to the clubhouse, here next to the building, and some of these areas in the landscape islands here.
Yeah, it's not a bad plan, but again,
Yep, yeah, and again, not necessarily answer your full question, but as part of the planning decision, and of course as part of this process, they've committed that if there's a need for additional snow storage on site, they would completely remove it from the site within 48 hours at their own expense. So I know there's often the concern, what if snow storage runs out? We don't necessarily anticipate that, but they are committed to hauling it off-site if they had to.
yeah, I can see us putting in some kind of professional condition on the deed where not even temporary snow storage is going to happen. At least up by these vernal pools on that side of the development. And wording to be determined. There's going to be something along those lines. And again, probably no way we can guarantee that a snowplow driver at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning is going to adhere to that.
Do you have signage up to indicate where this snow disposal areas are? Because the drivers are going to change.
They're not included on the plans now, but I assume we'd be amenable to it, and I think maybe even signs that say no snow storage may be appropriate if that was.
I would like yes and no.
Yes and no, green light, red light.
Because otherwise, how are they going to know? Are they going to take the time to look at a map and say, oh, I got to do this?
Exactly. Wait, let me pull that O&M plan from 50 years ago and see where I can put this snow.
Yeah,
They're not going to do that.
No chance.
If I could, I mean, it may not satisfy your question, but it is indicated in a contract that we would sign with the snow removal company.
But it'll be different drivers.
Understood. I'm just,
Yeah.
you asked how they would know. That is how they would technically know.
House I grew up in, I had to repair the grass every single year across the street from the driveway where they would plow it right onto my lawn.
Fair enough.
Every year.
And he still holds a grudge.
Could I ask a question?
Maybe.
You may, indeed.
Is my microphone on? Yeah. Can you hear me, Matt?
Yeah, this time I remembered too.
You know, I think you've done a wonderful job with the infrastructure. I looked at the infrastructure, and I'm the weakest link in this commission. My background is not
That's
science.
not fair. I object.
My background is business, and I joined the commission because I wanted to protect the critters. That's what I love. I love the animals. I love the plants. The elephant, and I agree with Chuck, the elephant in the room for me is we swore an oath to protect the wetlands when we all joined this commission. How would you tell me how I'm going to protect the wetlands from the 600 to 900 people that are going to be walking to Target every day to the back-to-school sale? Because they're going to take the shortest path. They're going to go through the wetlands. There's just I can't see how this commission, with a transient population, I think if I read the statistics correctly, people that live in apartments are probably there for 18 months. So we've got 294 apartments with probably 3 to 4 people, maybe 2, but 600 to 900 people that want to go to that mall every day. That's not 30 years from now, that's today. And when I went up through there, when we went up and toured before this development was even coming in, it was pretty well littered from I'm sorry, from the kids that were coming from the school, and they're going up through there, and it wasn't just on that little path coming through, it was everywhere in there. So how are we possibly gonna have a chance to protect the wetlands against 900 people that wanna get to the shopping mall?
Can you go back to the large?
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Between the two verticals, zoom in. More. A little more. So what you got right there is the
The path
that's
that's
the
been there
path that
forever.
we do to go in there.
Yeah.
And what we would do is we would promote the foot traffic. If you look above it, you can see the dotted lines showing promoted foot traffic through that path. It would steer them away from the actual wetland into the path, which is where the same children that you talk about have gone, because I saw them
understand.
going,
I understand.
I saw them going through there while I was delineating the wetlands, and then going in and putting flags back up. They were around there one of the times when I took you guys through a guided tour. And I disagree with the litter. What I did see was a lot of tree forts attempted, but the litter that's coming in is actually blowover from the
It could be, we
Target
don't
Plaza.
know. I mean, there's no
And-
forensic evidence of that, but I understand.
Well, I mean, I see
There-
where it's
there is
coming
some
from.
that would blow that way.
I see where it's coming from, and it's coming from the parking lot, and
But
that's
can you
just a-
zoom out on that again?
Yep, go for it. And that's a matter of, talking to the plaza people about having them do a better policing job.
A little more?
And I
Are
know
those
that-
all the buildings there, the 5?
Yep, and I know that Target has been working to do a better policing job, because through the season, I've seen their crews out there like just about every day, out picking stuff up.
Would you put trash cans at the ends of the trail there?
Then somebody.
Happy to. Yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't.
No, not too sure if that's a great idea.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's got to empty them.
Yeah.
Right, and yeah, someone's got to empty them, and that's one of the reasons why they don't put they don't put trash cans in like national forests, because they want this carry in, carry out, so.
That often leads to just people
More
bring,
trash.
like household trash there
Yeah.
and.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
They
a
do that
Dog waste and
good
everything
side and
else.
bad side.
Yeah,
But, yeah,
good idea.
hypotheticals,
Yeah.
but yeah.
So what are these two buildings down here? I'm sorry, I didn't,
One over here?
yeah.
Those are also residential buildings. I guess to your.
So they're going to walk all the way up to
Well,
that one path
To
going
your,
through
to
there?
your question, I was going to address that. So the easiest path to get to the shopping center from there is not through the wetlands. There's a significant grade change with a retaining wall there. So they would have to either walk through the development to the walking path or out of the development down around the road.
Yeah, that's.
And you think kids are going to do that, right?
Well, I'm just pointing out, sir, that the grade change there is significant, and
Yeah.
it's up high on a retaining wall.
Behind
So-
I
Target,
understand.
right?
My concern is if this was a cul-de-sac of single-family homes, and we've experienced this before, and there were 15 or 16 homes in there, we'd have a shot at talking to those people and educating them on the wetlands and why they're there and why it's important. With people moving in and out and 900 people, we just don't have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm not sure that's a fair assessment. I think that's not giving credit to folks who rent these days. People are renting these days. No, I disagree with that. I mean, people rent by choice nowadays. They rent for a longer period of time.
I don't disagree with that.
There could easily, by the way, the numbers that you're stating, I don't know to be true. I mean, 900 people, we have a significant number of one-bedroom units in this development that could be, house one person.
So 500
so
people.
It could be, but I mean, I disagree with the assessment that renters don't care about where they live. We manage.
I'm not saying they don't care.
We build and manage Class A properties. We've done so throughout this, the state for a long time, and we don't have the issues that
Yeah,
you're suggesting.
don't mischaracterize what I said. I never said that they didn't care. I just think they're going to take the easiest path to the shopping center, which is through there, and I don't see how we can possibly continually educate people in the importance of the wetlands that surround it.
I would argue that we would have a better chance of educating our residents through our leasing process than a single-family homeowner would, because there's nobody there to
And that's what I was
manage
looking for, is a
Yeah.
suggestion. How do you propose to do that?
I mean, certainly we can include literature on education of what the wetlands are and where they are, located on the property. Happy to do that. If you had a single-family development, that wouldn't be the case.
No, but we would have a chance, we'd probably meet with those folks.
You all set?
I think so.
Okay, for now.
I beat the dead horse.
Just be forewarned, I'm going to put a special condition in here, should we approve this, for signs indicating the presence of vernal pools, no trespassing. Will they work? Probably not. But it's a bare minimum that we can do.
You mean like an interpretive sign? Something that not only would say no trespassing, but might be able to educate the people as what a vernal pool is?
Correct, exactly, yes, yep.
Why not trespass, right? And explain that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no
that's
trespassing is tempting, that's alluring. But if you
Every
make it
kid's going for it.
educational, that'll keep them away.
Yep, yep.
Punish or will by.
And if I could, I'm sorry, one more question?
Please.
And I know Matt's aware of this, and I think Rich is. When we originally toured that property, there is a marker, I'm assuming it's a grave marker of someone that thought that that was the best piece of property in the world and chose to spend the rest of their life there. I would hope that that is protected and will be protected. It's right behind the Target. I think, you don't remember that?
I remember it.
Yeah, we do. It's not a grave marker, it's a marker of where he passed. And we're aware of it, and we're going to be relocating it on the site.
Why relocate it? I mean, that's where somebody chose one of the owners.
It's not, Matt, you can.
Are you
speak to
sure,
this
are you
if there's
sure
any-
it's not a grave marker?
We are sure.
Yep, yeah, so I guess, I think we worked a little bit with the historical commission on that. The location is somewhere right here, about in this parking lot here. We're going to put a flush marker on the ground that marks the location in the parking area, and then also move the stone to an area.
What does it mark? What does it indicate?
I think it says he died at this spot on such and such a date.
Oh, that's not that he was buried, but he died on
He
that
died
spot.
at that spot, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Can you briefly summarize which standards you are only meeting to the maximum extent practicable?
Yeah, sure, it's only the groundwater recharge one that I highlighted, due to the soils condition, everything else is met.
Okay,
Yep. And handbook allows for that type of soil condition.
sure.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I got more,
Uh-oh.
if I could. Yeah,
Please.
uh-oh.
Please.
Please review again for me the acreage of, what is the total acreage? How much is becoming pavement and apartments, impermeable, non-permeable,
Impervious.
impervious? Because I was trying to follow the math that was being talked earlier, and I didn't quite get all the arithmetic.
Let me pull it up because I don't want to give you fake numbers. So the total area of the,
The total property is,
$17.95 they're saying, but I'll just double check.
okay, so 18 acres.
18 acres, yeah.
And how much of it gets developed?
As far as impervious,
How much gets impacted? What-
12.5 acres is the limit of work on site.
12.5, okay.
And how much becomes impervious?
7.5 acres. And that's buildings.
Of
paved.
that 12.5, 7.5 will
is-
be impervious?
Correct, yep.
As I look at that, it's just not following. Maybe it's just my eyes, but it looks like about half of it as you come through on the left part, and then it's much more than half, and then it's more than half. And
Yeah, sure. Remember, non-impervious includes like landscape islands, interior, so there's 20 feet between the buildings and the parking area. There's interior landscape islands, so the 7.5 is just
the impervious, just the parking
Yeah,
area.
12.5 is if you're looking at the area that's not dark green on the big outer circle, that's 12.5.
Most of this,
Yep.
most of this, and so on. right?
Yeah, that area you just more or less circled is close, is the
Okay, so assume
12.5.
you measure up. Can you blow this up, please, a little? That might be off of our resource area, but I'm gonna try this anyways. How thick is this? This part here, this green strip?
Yep.
That's by Sky Lane, is that what's there now? You're gonna leave it there?
This dark green here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's outside our limit of work.
Okay, are these deciduous or are they gonna be evergreen, they get planted?
Those will be deciduous.
Okay, so they're no help in the winter in terms of screening anything. What's there mostly?
Oh, I'm sorry, these ones here that this lighter green color are deciduous, these darker ones are the arborvitaes, yeah.
Okay. How thick is it here that looks like the
Yeah, sure.
shortest spot?
Yeah, the shortest spot's about 30 feet.
30 feet, okay. You mentioned you've gone from 308,
I'm sorry, it's 30 feet here, but it keeps going.
Correct.
well, goes into their properties, and from what I saw, I think most of those have cleared the properties, I'm guessing, to the property line?
No, so
You've
this,
got buffer back there, some of you?
That's all wood right there.
I hope,
So there's a
He
50-foot,
did it at 50 feet, not 30.
so there's a 50-foot buffer strip going around the area.
Please don't ask questions while he's presenting, please save the questions for afterwards, please.
is this the 50 or is this the 50?
it's more than 50 from the pavement to the property line. The shortest spot of the wooded vegetation is 30 feet.
So we've got a 50-foot buffer strip going in, okay? And the areas on the back lots in Sky Lane that you just referred to, you've got undeveloped forest canopy that comes off from the end of the cul-de-sac there where Mr. Coakley's yard is, and you go around the abutting lots on Harvard Street, and you've got like pretty somewhere around 5 acres of forested overstory total going around that area.
Okay. My next question, you said you'd gone from 308 down to 294 units, and the purpose of doing that was what again?
Sure, that was through coordination with the planning board. There was discussion relative to this particular wooded buffer and keeping the paved areas 50 feet or more away from that property line, so it was squeezing in that way.
So did you shorten those buildings and take the apartments out of them? I couldn't imagine that I would notice this 4.5% decrease in apartments.
Yeah, sure. I think we adjusted these buildings on the south side of the site to be a little smaller, and then this building here used to be this entire length here, and now we've got a garage and parking there, so those were the places where we adjusted.
Okay, that's where that came, but it's still 9 buildings, still
Correct.
9 apartment buildings, okay. I agree with Chuck on the snow removal, that is an issue. And I'd appreciate more insight from you as to how that can be maintained. You didn't mention yet, how long does the current stormwater maintenance operation and maintenance plan extend for beyond construction?
I think that would be in perpetuity for the life of the project.
So you are agreeing to that. Now, we had also talked about a third-party inspector or engineer to ensure that is completed, that is under the control of the city. That was only mentioned during construction. Would that also be through perpetuity? Because that's the only way I would trust that the stormwater maintenance would get conducted, is that there's somebody that is under the city's oversight and not just, Matt, we trust you, but you won't be around for 50 more years. Maybe you will, who knows?
So
He
I'm
might.
going to be around for 10, but hey, is what it is. I mean, if you have this thing as on full build-out, and you have an O&M plan to maintain the system, I would think the stormwater personnel at DPW that handle the stormwater permitting would be the appropriate city staff to monitor to ensure that these things are maintained. So how you would want to do that is that reporting would have to be submitted to the city DPW and to the Conservation Office yearly on what was done, and that way the city can go out and inspect it themselves. And if there's no reports done, then the city starts its own enforcement action.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
was
kind
trying
of the
to
same
keep it.
thing.
I was trying to keep it off the city's expense and off their backs. I'm sure DPW won't jump at having more to inspect. We would need their agreement in advance for that. But that's my sticking point, is how do we enforce this down the road?
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a laundry list. Thought we were going to be here for a while.
Check them off.
All right, anybody else, thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Can I go back to that groundwater recharge provision, the third condition of the stormwater handbook?
I just want to be excused for a second.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
You want us to take a 5-minute break or a short break? Okay.
So, Mr. Bombisi, you're arguing that, that to build to the maximum extent practicable is permissible here. The Metro West analysis concluded, or they disagreed effectively. Because of the absence of, because of the presence of a type B soil on the property and the absence of bedrock exposure here. Further, the analysis suggested that because of the tree clearing, the complete tree clearing and replacement with so much impervious surface, that's what prevents that infiltration condition from being met here. The reviewer also suggests even a modest reduction in density would allow this standard to be fully met. Can you please elaborate as to why you disagree with that or have not chosen to address this issue in that way?
Yeah, sure. So we did provide infiltration in the areas we could, which is that area on the north of the site.
Yes.
As far as other infiltration, it's the site's hydraulic soil group D, 70% of the site. It just won't accept infiltration, and Mass DEP really wouldn't allow us to do it. We could provide infiltration basins. What's going to happen is the water's going to sit in there. It's not going to go anywhere, and then we're going to lose the storage volume. So which is why we propose them as detention structures with a very small orifice to very slowly let the water out. So quite frankly, it's just better in long term to, instead of proposing an infiltration structure that's not going to operate and not have any volume, to propose it how we think it's really going to operate due to the poor soils.
Would you be able to, were the footprint of the entire proposal be reduced by, say, 10%, allowing some sort of buffer intact with mature forested trees, what do you think that would do in terms of getting you toward that infiltration requirement?
Yeah, sure. It would very slightly reduce the amount of recharge we were required to provide, but again, it would be the soils that wouldn't allow us to provide additional recharge. Even with this impervious area, we could, if we had the soils, we'd provide the infiltration basin and we'd meet the requirement. We just don't think it would operate properly, which is why we designed it the way we would. So reducing the project to some small amount is going to appreciably impact our compliance with the groundwater recharge.
So effectively, you disagree with the assessment that a modest reduction in density would allow the
I do.
infiltration
Yeah.
condition to be met? Just based on the soil hydrology,
Correct.
the widespread Class C and D soils on the lot.
Correct.
So, you set, Nick? Okay. Anybody else on
Okay.
the commission? No? Okay. All right. With that then.
I'd like to
Yeah,
take
let's take a couple of minutes break. I think we might need some people that might need a bio break, and we'll come back in 5 minutes. Now, we remind the commissioners that the microphones are still on.
Stretch.
want to take your seats? Jesse, I almost called you Nick again. Jesse, you want to kick us off?
That's okay. Yeah, sure. So now we're gonna do public comments.
To your mic.
Yeah. Pulling
So
now we're gonna
call that pulling a mat from now on.
pulling a mat away from the mic. So we're gonna do public comment now. We're asking that try to keep your public comments on the shorter side. We're gonna set a 2-minute timer and let people know when that's up. If a comment has already made, then we would prefer that not be repeated in other comments. I will read the 8 interests in the Wetlands Protection Act, and anything outside of those is not in our purview, and we won't be discussing it, but protection of public and private water supply, protection of groundwater supply, flood control, storm damage protection, prevention of pollution, protection of land containing shellfish, protection of fisheries, and protection of wildlife habitat. Now, before we open it up to everyone else, I got a couple letters that I want to read before I forget about them, because that's what would happen if I didn't do it now. I do have one from Chelsea Madison of 65 Harvard. I don't know if...
I think that was a long time ago.
It was in October, but we haven't had it.
You can toss that one.
Okay,
I
okay.
think a lot of those points and all of those concerns I
Sure.
speak to tonight or they're gone.
Absolutely, yeah, no, that's great. That's why I figured I'd mention your name before I started reading it.
Thanks for saving us some time.
Yes.
So now I'll read, so this one came from, we'll go to the name. So this is from Martin Suberg, who is the managing partner at Durand and Anastas Environmental Strategies.
And former commissioner of the DEP, if I might add.
Yes, you are right about that. And it's a bit long. I'm going to try to rip through it, but stick with me. So, dear members of the commission, I am writing on behalf of the landowner of this property, 2190 Trust, and Abutters Coles LLC, Orchard Hill Park LLC, and Pioneer Park LLC, and in support of the project. Our firm is providing environmental consulting services to the landowner and its affiliates. By way of background, I am the former commissioner of the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, serving until January 2023, and have over 40 years of experience in environmental law and policy and working with communities to ensure projects that meet development goals in compliance with environmental rules. The proponent has demonstrated a commitment to work diligently to ensure compliance with state wetland rules. The proponent has indicated to us and to the commission the willingness to be transparent and to ensure that the project as designed and constructed is protective of the interests of the Wetlands Protection Act. The proponent has to date worked closely with the commission, and I expect that it will continue to do so. The NOI filing is based upon an approved, valid, and recorded order of resource delineation, DEP file number 1991166. As described in the NOI, the proposal limits impacts to bordering vegetated wetlands to 3,257 square feet and proposes replication in square footage of more than 1 1/2 times 4,905 square feet than the proposed impacts. The stormwater plan by Bowler Engineering is being peer-reviewed by Fuss & O'Neill for purposes of compliance with Mass DEP and city stormwater performance standards, and the proponent will work to address all of the comments. We are aware that a request was made to the Mass Environmental Policy Act, MEPA office, seeking fail-safe review and a review of this project in light of anti-segmentation provisions in the MEPA regulations. The MEPA office has determined that the project does not qualify for fail-safe review under 301 CMR 11.04, and that the project is not required to undergo MEPA review pursuant to anti-segmentation principles in 301 CMR 11.012C. The project received site plan approval by the Leominster Planning Board on November 3rd, 2025. We appreciate the careful review. The Conservation Commission will provide the project, and we know the development team is committed to working with the Commission on its decision. Given the need for housing in this and many communities, we strongly encourage a timely review and approval. Sincerely, Martin Suberg, I read his title earlier, Managing Partner at Durand and Anastas Environmental Strategies. And then one more, not really a letter so much, but I figured that it would only be fair to reach out to Scott Turner, who was, part of the peer review for Fuss and O'Neill, since that underwent some scrutiny with some of the documents that were provided to this commission. So this is from Scott Turner. I just skimmed through this letter. There are many items in here that I simply don't agree with. In my opinion, he has overreached in a number of areas. For example, there is no mention of heat or salinity impacts in any stormwater regulations I've seen in my career in Massachusetts, which is over 25 years. It is difficult to hold any applicant to a higher standard than is described in the regulations, which he appears to do. Increase in volumes is common on many projects and consistent with the state standards. With regards to the Leominster Stormwater Ordinance, I did not see any of the performance standards he refers to in said ordinance. The ordinance, which is online, doesn't contain any performance standards. If there are regulations to accompany the ordinance, I am not sure where they are published, since I looked for them and could not find them online. I reviewed the plans and calculations for compliance with the state standards, the Leominster Ordinance, and standard engineering practice. I also reject his references to unprofessionalism, in quotation marks, by the applicant. In my personal opinion, there's no place for those types of comments in these letters, but everyone has their own approach. That's all.
He's referring to the Metro West Engineering Review.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you.
Bless you.
That's all I got.
You all set,
so
Jesse? All right.
I'm all set, thank you.
All right, so with that, I'll open up to public questions. If I may first, to reiterate what Jesse said, we're looking for new things here. We are not interested in bringing up things that have already been brought up. And I'm also, at this point, I pride myself in running fair and open, but tight meetings. I pride myself on that. I am not interested in long-winded soliloquies. I'd like, if you have a question, to move us along and get information, that's fine. Not interested in, again, long-winded soliloquies, so please keep those to a minimum. With that, ma'am, I see you're already standing up. Come up and introduce yourself and your address, please.
Kristen Howlett, 33 Sky Lane.
Sorry, Kristen, I'm going to let you talk. So I'm going to run the 2-minute timer, and then it'll ding when 2 minutes go up.
Sure.
And then I guess just try to sum up your comments if you get that far. Thank you.
I'm 33 Sky Lane, so the wetlands is very important because most of us as abutters have wetlands in the back. At planning, we were given a 50-foot uncut vegetation with a fence on the inside of the development. I now just heard 30 feet and I don't see the fence. So I'm just wondering if that can be addressed because again, it's the wetlands that I'm mostly concerned about.
If you recall, the fence was a condition, so it's not shown on the plans currently.
So
It was a condition to add the fence back into the site plan when it's built.
So you
That's
just haven't
correct.
added it yet, but it's part of the plan.
It's part of
So-
the, it's
so if
part
I
of the
can
approval
explain-
and conditions, correct.
okay, so there's enough room in that skinny road to put a fence on the inside?
The fence will be at the limit of work.
So we still get the 50 feet of uncut vegetation because I see bushes, not our woods.
It's 50 feet buffer from paved areas to the.
No, it was uncut. It was uncut vegetation.
That's what the planning board said?
Unless anyone here.
I'm not, I don't know.
With all, with all due respect, Mr. Chair, I mean, we can defer to the planning decision and conditions for this comment. It's not how it's shown here. This is a visual plan.
If that's a planning issue, that's got to come up in front of planning, nothing we can do about that. That's not a Wetlands Protection Act requirement or provision.
Although it's protecting my wetlands.
But it's not under our purview. It's a,
I'll be
that's a
happy
planning board
to
thing.
talk to the planning,
Is there
city
enough
planner.
room for that road, though, if you do it the way planning said you should do it? Because there's not a lot of room back there.
We're talking up
Yeah.
here somewhere?
Right. It looks even thinner forward.
No, if that's what the planning board required, that's going to need to be addressed.
And then they would have a different plan that we would need to see.
Right.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we went through this at great lengths with the planning board,
Mhm.
with most of these abutters present.
Mhm.
That is memorialized in an approved plan with
Okay.
conditions.
So is there a plan that we can see at some point that indicates that?
Yeah, so the way the plan is when you go to pull a building permit, you have an updated plan, construction drawings done, and then you have to submit those for a building permit. They have to adhere to the conditions of the planning board.
So can we assure this fine woman here that these plans, at the time of pulling the plans, will indicate a 50-foot uncut buffer and a fence?
I can confirm that it'll adhere to whatever the language said in the planning decision that we agreed
That's
to.
fair. That's fair.
I'd just like to say, there's a lot of, we promise we'll do this, we promise we'll do this, and even the plans they're showing you tonight aren't what planning said on the 3rd. Thank you.
Wow, how about this? Hold on a second. When you pull those plans, one of you, I don't know who does it. Is this just in terms of that 50-foot uncut buffer? So that does fit, just make sure I understand what 50 feet means from where to where? From the edge of the road? Your property line, which is, well, let's assume that's you. 50 feet from the property line?
The dash line.
It's from here to here, and they told me that was as low as 30 feet. And yet they're telling me it should be 50 feet.
Correct.
Oh, from this property line?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, all right.
this undeveloped, this is developed, but
Right.
vegetation,
But-
this is the 50 foot they were supposed to keep.
Yeah, okay.
But it is a planning committee thing, Chuck.
Yeah,
No,
Mr.
understood,
Chairman,
but-
I can assure the commission that we will adhere to what was agreed to at the planning board on site plan approval.
Understood.
But then I want to know how that changes the
Right,
buildings and the
right.
pavement.
It will not.
Where do you get the 20 feet from?
I'm not sure what the 20 feet is.
Because you told me there was a 30-foot spot there, and now it's got to be 50. So I want to know where those 20 feet go.
I think,
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's a 50-foot buffer. My understanding is that the 50-foot buffer is both the natural and proposed plantings. But like Jim said, we'll meet whatever the planning approved, which is, this is the plan that was submitted to planning.
That's a little wishy-washy to me.
well, no, the lady said that it's uncut. We're not saying that. We're saying whatever the language said in the planning decision is what we'll adhere to. We don't have that in front of us. We'll look for that.
But he's saying that it counts the landscape part.
That's
Yeah,
my understanding.
that is correct. And we did not state that it was uncut. The woman who stood up stated that.
Understood.
Right, no, but he just said the 50 feet now, at least according to this, is uncut and basically lawn and tree, and planted
Yeah,
trees.
Undeveloped.
Yeah,
Or
with
no
no
structures, yeah. I don't know, again, we don't have the language in front of us, but we'll agree to the language that we agreed to at the planning board. I'm not sure.
Okay, well, all right,
Why we're
let's
revisiting
table
that.
this one then. Ma'am, introduce yourself and your address, please.
So Chelsea Madison, 65 Harvard Street. I just want to respectfully ask the commission to consider requiring as an order of condition to use the calcium magnesium acetate just to avoid damage to any vernal pools or any of the wetlands, just due to the fact that the chloride could be potentially harmful. And then, is there a way that the commission could require a detailed plan to show the supply chain and how these alternatives will actually be applied? Could there be a financial mechanism like an escrow account to cover any costs if mistakes are made or rock salt is used improperly, just to ensure that everything is done correctly? They can promise and say, they'll do this, we'll do this, we'll do this.
Well, that's exactly what Rich and I and others were talking
Yeah.
about, is an O&M plan.
Okay, perfect.
And
I just wanted to voice that as well
Yeah,
in support of that.
It's a huge concern of ours.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
so
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else? Sir,
Jerry
name and
Millett.
address, please.
Jerry Millett from 58 Skylane. I just want to address the critter crossing. They, at no point in this project, hired a biologist or an ecologist. So how do we actually know that these critter tunnels and these amphibian tunnels are even up to what they're supposed to be? I've worked with animals for over 30 years. I can tell you right now, predators and such aren't going through some 2-foot dark tunnel to get to the other side. That just doesn't happen. Number two, that's going to become a food source, so anything going through there is just a fatal funnel to be caught on the other side. Three, snakes will live in those tunnels because it's going to be cool and damp. No predator, no other prey animal is going to go through those tunnels with snakes hiding out in there. So that's just a waste of time. And we had to get a stormwater review to show the mistakes that were being made. Now, are we going to be forced to hire biologists and ecologists to show that these tunnels are a waste of time? They're just putting these things in just to appease and say, this is what we're doing. But they don't have any data whatsoever to show these tunnels will actually be used by any of these animals. You're going to put up a sign that says, walk this way, exit to the left? That's just not going to happen.
All right, thank you. You guys want to address that at all? Performance standards or anything, or?
Critter tunnels are put in according to the performance standards. They're industry standard tunnels. It's taking all of the migration corridors into effect. I mean, I can belabor this all night long.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Can
Follow
I
up?
just address that real quick? That's not answering the question. He's just holding it, just saying, I'm just meeting what's out there. He's not actually doing the work. He's just saying, hey, the standard says this, so I'm just going to follow the standard. It doesn't mean it's going to work. It's just, I follow the standard. And I don't think that's good enough. I think it actually should be studied, just like we spent the money to find out what was wrong there. And why aren't they willing to do at least that much to prove that any of that works?
Okay, thank you.
There's no wildlife habitat study required. We meet the specifications of the law. That's what you go by. The law says you need to do this, and we did it. What we're proposing here actually goes above the standards of the law. We don't really have to do the critter tunnels. Doing the critter tunnels and doing the migration pathways that we've proposed go above current standards of the law. So we're trying to facilitate it. That's really all. It's just that simple.
Okay.
I'm not going to belabor the point anymore. I'm done with
Understood,
it.
understood.
Can I speak to that, actually?
Yeah.
You did promise, Mr. Merrill, initially in your appearance here, to treat those vernal pools as if they were certified vernal pools.
And I did.
As part of that process, wouldn't reaching out to Fish and Wildlife be an appropriate step, or no?
Fish and Wildlife isn't supposed to be commenting on any proposal here.
Is not them, not maybe MIPA, no?
MIPA doesn't,
I'm sorry,
MIPA doesn't
I'm sorry.
do that.
The National Heritage?
They're only supposed to be commenting on endangered species issues. There's no endangered species here.
Because there's no
endangered
critical
species.
habitat.
That's correct.
Okay, so,
An agency comment from endangered species doesn't happen.
so to clarify, treating these as vernal pools, as certified vernal pools, would not necessarily require any sort of wildlife or natural heritage?
No. No.
Correspondence? Thank you.
No, it does not. And like I said, I'm just not going to belabor this any further because the back and forth will just keep going. So I've met the standards, I've exceeded the standards. I am a competent biologist. I'm just not going to belabor this anymore.
Okay.
So
Very
I'm
good.
done.
In closing, the reason we don't know about any endangered species is because they've nailed up trespassing signs all over the place, so there would be no way for anybody to get on there without permission to
Okay,
find
that's-
out if
Sir,
they're there.
that's conjecture. I'd rather not go down that road. Thank you very much. Also, just, Matt, at the beginning, you did say you'd be willing to put in 1 or 2 more amphibian tunnels, critter tunnels, whatever you call them. I will.
Yeah, we can cite those. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, there are areas where we can do shorter
Yeah.
distance tunnels.
So don't be surprised, should we approve this, that's a special condition.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine.
Okay.
Chuck, Jerry's point hits to something that's bothered me for a long time.
Okay.
Once you establish a regulation, you've established a minimum standard, and it often becomes the standard minimum. And I think that's what you're feeling in some. In this case, Mr. Morrow said they did go above some of it. But that's what happens, and engineers folks just design to the regulation.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's how the system works.
Nature of the beast, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Did I see somebody else come up? Oh, there you are.
Yeah,
You're behind the
Haley
pole.
Brady, 200 Harvard Street.
Mhm.
There was a question about the shade for the vernal pools and removing a lot of it. Would it still be adequate cooling and, shading of these areas? Are we just keeping it the way it is? It looks like it's, 2 feet of trees on the southern one?
Right in here?
Yeah.
Looks like more than 2 feet to me, but.
Okay,
Gentlemen,
maybe it's.
can you address that?
The trees remaining around the vernal pools will provide adequate shade. Is one thing I did do when I analyzed that area. The first thing you look for is the way the sun swings. So in looking with what will be left for overstory, there will be sufficient shade on those pools. It won't increase the temperature.
So,
Is there a report on that?
I'm sorry, what?
Is there a report that, just shows that those trees will be adequate?
I doubt there's a full report just on that. It might be part of another report. I don't know for a fact.
Or like some kind of
But
analysis?
keep in mind also, no mind, I'm not the engineer on the property. I'm not going to get on that road.
Okay. The other one, the dog park. Did we already go over how we were gonna stop any pollutants from going into the vernal pool?
Actually, that was a question I had. Yeah, is there going to be a fence around the dog park?
Well, dog pee gets into the ground and you can't really
How
stop.
far is that dog park from the? So there will be urine in the dog park? And then-
Yeah.
So then we're talking, how far to the wetland?
That closest
Ish.
corner, that bottom left corner is 20 feet from the property line, wetland line, plus or minus.
Okay.
20 feet?
There would be a swale and a rain garden treatment area down gradient.
Okay. Do
What-
those stop dog pee from infiltrating?
I expect that's the prime phosphorus and nitrogen source of this whole development. Would that be correct? For phosphorus and nitrogen loading would be the waste products from the dogs?
I wouldn't go that far, but I think.
What would be then?
That would be a source.
It's a source,
phosphorus,
obviously.
yeah.
What would be the peak source of that then, if that's not it?
Phosphorus would be like, it could be that leaf litter, things like that.
The which?
Leaf litter in the street, in the
Oh,
large
just-
leaf litter.
Okay.
But yeah, we do have a treatment down gradient of the dog park.
Just to help this woman along, do we have anybody have any
Where's the treatment fit? I mean,
any data or information about
Things like wood chips.
the attenuation factor of dog urine in soil?
Infiltration rate.
Yeah, it just seems close. I mean, that's just my one observation.
I can understand what she's saying, but they're gonna add an organic source like, wood chips to this, and that usually helps to remediate that issue.
Is that what the bottom will be, wood chips or something along?
Yeah, because it'll be carbon. If you did something like put in like AstroTurf or something like that, then yeah, you'd have an issue. But if you're gonna use like an organic carbon source, which would be like wood chips, that should filter out.
How will that filter out the
Because
dissolved
organic
phosphorus and nitrogen? Yeah, but it's organic carbon, which is going to absorb organic chemicals. I would think that the lawn you just described would be a better solution, because it would uptake phosphorus and nitrogen.
I don't know about that. Have you ever had a dog go in your lawn and all of a sudden the lawn's burned?
Yeah, and then it grows really well after that. No, I got a lot of burnt spots.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not in my yard. The carbon, the wood chips is actually what they use in dog parks to
Do they?
help neutralize
Okay,
that.
thank you.
Dog parks 20 feet from certified vernal pools. I'm just wondering if there's any analysis.
I-
So you know what I'm saying. We don't need to beat this.
Matt, or either one of you remember how many inches of wood chips you're going to be putting in the bottom of that dog park?
No, that would be, Matt, you would have that spec.
Yeah, I think that's to be determined as part of the building permit.
All right.
Okay. The last thing, so under your purview is flood control, correct?
Correct.
Not really sure if you have to look at specifics, but I mean, volume is not DEP regulated, but it is part of floodwater purview, right? The amount of volume, say you're doubling it.
It's the rate. It can't be doubled. It's whatever rains. So the volume is the same no matter what. What you can do and what they do in some of this is they spread out the peaks of the flow. And that's what you try to do to avoid that precipitation going downstream.
Okay. I mean, granted, the stormwater report, some of it's way outside my knowledge base, but there was an area that said down gradient, it would, forgive me if I'm wrong, but doubling the volume flowing downhill, how would you stop that from flooding?
Go ahead.
It meets the performance standards for peak discharge off the site, as you kind of roughly
But
outlined.
when you say that kind of doesn't mean much to her.
Oh, sure,
Can you say
yeah.
how that relates to doubling the runoff volume, whatever
Yeah,
term she said?
Let me do this now. I've done this before with conservation, on conservation commissions.
Yeah.
So essentially what's happening is they're basically taking the flow, they're holding it or they're discharging it underground. And the mechanisms that they're planning for in there will hold the water back long enough to stop the velocity from increasing to the point where it could cause flooding downstream. And that's how they attenuate it. It doesn't necessarily treat volume. For some reason, the regulations in general, whether they're wetland or other stormwater regulations, don't account for the volume.
Okay.
But what it does is it stops it long enough to keep it from becoming problematic downstream. Think of it like detention basins, for example. Think of it like school detention. You get held for a little while, and then you slowly get bled out.
Yes, but if we're not calculating volume, we're bringing it into thought, what happens like it did in 2023? We got overloaded with so much water.
You cannot design for every potential circumstance.
Well, yeah, but I
You
mean-
do the best you can with a fudge factor, and you hope for the best.
Haley, it takes in a volume in terms of volume per time, and that's how it does it. But you
Alright,
don't do it at
just-
volume alone, because that doesn't, the volume's still gonna be the same volume.
And I can understand where 2023 would stick in people's
Oh,
memories.
absolutely.
It's so
I
recent.
mean,
And I can
well,
tell
well,
you,
we're gonna be dealing with it more and more.
Yep.
These are
For-
real things.
Understood.
from my own experience, I live at the top of a hill, nowhere near any streams. And if it wasn't for the fact I had an able-bodied stepson at home helping me bail my basement out, I would have lost my boiler. I would have lost a lot more than $7,000 worth of damage. It was a 1,000-year storm.
Yeah.
It was a freak anomaly. And a lot of people I know actually, were victims of damage too.
Yep.
So,
Okay. Haley, you all set?
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Okay. All right.
Good evening, Carrie Noseworthy, 95 Smith Street. I'm also the Ward 5 City Councilor. I guess a complimentary question, because I was very much impacted by the flood, is building on a wetland and then replacing the wetland.
Ma'am, they're not building on a wetland.
Okay, building where they are and then doing the replacement of a 1.5,
for the crossing.
the replication
Oh,
for
for
the
the crossing.
crossing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
yes.
I thought you meant the
Oh,
person.
no,
I'm
that's
sorry.
okay.
I'm sorry.
So I had a
Proceed.
question. I didn't know, so I live at 95 Smith Street, and I was never allowed to purchase flood insurance because we weren't in a floodplain. So I know water goes to the path of least resistance. So I'm just wondering, in this case, I wasn't sure, is it a floodplain? Has that been changed at all? Will they be able to purchase flood insurance? Just some things to think about. I just wasn't sure, and I wanted to bring that up.
Okay, fair question. So the floodplain is way down the street, over by the Nashua River. No, it's way down the street, over by the Nashua River. Okay?
Please don't crosstalk. Please. Thank you. If
So
if you have
this
concerns
area
afterwards,
is
come
a
up
great
afterwards and state your
distance.
concern.
This area is a great distance from the floodplain. The most recent maps, I believe, in Leominster are dated, Jesse, if I'm wrong, they're July of this year?
Yes, you're right.
So these maps actually just changed this July based on FEMA studies. So there were areas that were added into the floodplain, there were areas of floodplain that were expanded. This area, the floodplain did not expand into this area. So to answer your question, no, they wouldn't be required to purchase flood insurance because of that.
Sure, and I appreciate that. And I just wanted to add, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not an environmental engineer, that I wasn't in a floodplain, so I wasn't able to purchase flood insurance. So when I was impacted by a flood, my insurance wouldn't cover it. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Nope,
So
I
if
get
you're
it.
not, yeah, so I was just bringing that to everyone's attention. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we all, anybody that's looked into this knows that FEMA maps have always been an issue. But unfortunately, it's what we can, it's what we have, what we have to.
It's what we have
use.
to go by.
Exactly, right. Sir?
Dave Rollins, 49 Brayburn Circle. Just a very quick question, because we're talking about sizing and retention of water. I just want to get a scale. Are we talking about sizing based on a 20-year storm, a 50-year storm, a 100-year storm, or a 500-year storm? I know the one we had 2 years ago was basically a 500-year storm. I've lived through several 100-year storms in my life, and I'm not that old, so I'm just curious of, where we are in terms of sizing. I think at one point you guys, there was 20-year storms and you guys were asking for more.
No, I think he said they designed to, I think, a 100-year storm, and I said that should be a bare minimum.
Is that true? That's my question.
Yeah, if you could talk about what storm you designed to, please.
Yeah, sure. We designed to the 210 100-year storm. That's the stormwater handbook requirements. I should also just note.
What's 210?
I'm sorry, the 2-year, the 10-year,
Oh,
and the
oh.
100-year
Oh.
storm. Yeah, that's good. good
So when he
clarification.
designs, he has to show calculations and how he's balancing it for all three storm events.
Okay.
And for the 100-year storm, the stormwater regulations require use of the TP40 data. I think good industry standard is to use the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They publish updated rainfall data that's more up to date, and we use that data in our rainfall. So it's about an inch more than like the regulated stormwater rainfall, just to be consistent.
What are the standard? What are you required to design for?
We're required just to design to 6.4 inches, but we designed to 7.3 just based on the latest rainfall data that's
Okay.
available to make
Okay,
sure.
so you went above what was required as a minimum?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Can I ask a question about that, actually?
Yeah.
So,
Not too long, so
Sure.
this is the public portion.
Sure. The stormwater management system as proposed would, as compared to the present conditions, allow for less infiltration and direct water to the margins of the site, effectively to the fringing resource areas, yes? How much of an increase to those areas can we expect under those three storm scenarios?
As far as peak rates or volumes or both?
Probably both, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Could you just review, I saw it in your report, but could you just review that for the record here?
Yeah, sure. So for the peak discharge rates, the project would reduce well, I guess, again, there's two analysis points. So there's one analysis point, which is the water which flows down to the plane left. There's a culvert under Harvard Street that goes down to a wetland in that area.
Mhm.
Then the stuff on the right side of the site goes down through the wetland area under the box culvert at Orchard Hill Park Drive and down into wetland. So we analyzed peak discharges to both. You might just read off the cubic feet per second and all of them?
Yes, please. And the increase relative to the present condition.
Yeah, sure. So for peak rates, it's a decrease in all. So the 2-year at DP1 is 5.82 to 5.72. For the 10-year is 14.93 to 12.94. For the 100-year is 27.47 to 26.79.
And those are all decreases of
all
what
decreases.
percentage?
Correct, yep. DP2 is 8.36 to 8.12 in the 2-year, 19.96 to 50.97 in the 10-year, 43.17 to 40.52 in the 100-year.
So, thank you.
That's the requirement. We have to reduce all of them. That's the requirement.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Anybody else? Please.
Hello, Liz Macarella, 75 Harvard Street. I had a number of things I wanted to touch on. I don't want to monologue at you. I'm going to try to be very brief.
Thank you.
With each. I think the tie-in to each of my points is that the density of this project ends up being the underlying concern, and really the answer to many of the questions that you've been asking. How do we address all these different options? And we're looking at all the mitigating factors, and the density of the project is really the answer, and decreasing the density of the project. You start to meet these issues or have them be less impactful. For stormwater standard number 3, the proponent talked about the maximum extent practicable as the standard that they're meeting on this. The handbook states that the actual text of that requirement and that flexibility says it's for sites comprised solely of C&D soils and bedrock at the land surface. Then they can go to maximum extent practicable. They don't demonstrate any bedrock at this location, only C&D and also B-type soils. So there's really nothing preventing them from installing more infiltration capacity at the type B soil areas, and they don't meet the criteria for relying on maximum extent practicable. However, if you were to say, okay, but this is where they are, and you look at the definition in the handbook of maximum extent practicable, again, they don't really meet it, because it says they have to make all reasonable efforts toward evaluating all possible, applicable,
infiltration measures, which they could add more at type B, including environmentally sensitive site design that minimizes the land disturbance and impervious surfaces, low-impact development techniques, and structural stormwater best practices. So, and that's just a piece of it. I won't go into the rest. But this is not a this is not a minimal land disturbance, as we've talked about. It is not environmentally sensitive site design. It requires clearing nearly 100% of the existing trees on the site and regrading a significant topographical existing condition. So it's going to really change what's going on the site as it exists, and this is going to impact the vernal pools in multiple ways, which brings me to standard 6 and the protection of critical resources. The water quality in these vernal pools is almost certainly going to degrade as a result of this project. And we've talked about a number of different reasons for this. One of the things that engaging a wildlife biologist in an independent review, aside from managing, looking at the wildlife corridor and whether the critter tunnels are really working, it also can look at the impact of the stormwater runoff as it's been measured on the vernal pools with respect to the chemical changes and the temperature changes of the water. And we could look at the actual impact that would be expected on those vernal pools and whether they would continue to operate as they currently do. What would the productivity of those pools be expected to change to? What would the functionality of those pools be expected to change to? From a biology perspective, given the data behind the stormwater measures that they're proposing for the site. That would be a reason to go above the requirement, where there is none apparently, to engage wildlife biologists. But if we are all very concerned, as I believe we are, about the vernal pools, we don't need to just take the word of the standards. We can say, let's engage a qualified third party to look at the impact and assess what that would be biologically. Again, it really comes down to the density of the site, because you're seeing a lot of very tight constraints around the wetland areas. I wanted to point out that with the buffers that were required by the planning.
If I could, you're approaching now 4 minutes. If you can kind of wrap it up, please.
I will.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The buffers, when they did add the vegetation around the edges, it ended up pushing the development that was proposed toward the vernal pools. So if you look at the different plans from where they were to where they are now, the buildings that are off the page onto the right didn't change in size. They scooched down toward the vernal pools. And likewise, where the dog park is and the parking lot by the mailroom, all of that moved much closer to the vernal pools than it used to be. That was the result of adding the buffers that the planning board required. And it was a 50-foot untouched buffer, but besides the point. The Wetland Protection Act interests for this project have not been met. There's 6 of the 8 are applicable to this project. The shellfish and the fisheries is not. The other 6 are demonstrably not met by this design. And as such, it's also not conditionable to meet those standards. So the application really needs to be denied for not meeting the applicable standards and for not being able to be conditioned to meet them. I don't see another option, because it's very clear that this project is overreaching. If the density was less, it would be a different story. And we could have more areas that were reasonable for snow removal or storage, because you wouldn't have all of the impervious area that we do currently. I don't want to keep going, but you get my point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your concern.
Thank you.
Donna Millette, 58 Sky Lane. Thank you for all the work that you've put into this. We've all been working on this for a lot of months. It is apparent that the applicant has been provided ample and generous opportunity to revise and modify the project plan. Repeatedly elect to disrespect this commission and the Wetlands Protection Act. I am respectfully asking you to deny this application. We have researched the technical, biological, hydrologic, regulatory, and all we come up with is failures to comply with the Wetlands Protection Act. We are told over this evening multiple times, there's no data, we'll get it for you if you want. We've been asked to trust them. There is no certificate of compliance for the superseding order of conditions on the parent parcel. There is none. I don't know, plus the litter, there's no reason that I have to expect that anything is going to be different. I can't even imagine what would have happened to this parcel of land if we had not stepped forward. Those vernal pools were never certified in the delineation. None of this bioretention height or mounding analysis where we still don't have data, none of this would ever have come forth if we didn't beg over and over again, please protect this land. You did swear an oath to protect the critters, to protect our neighborhood. We are begging you, please deny this application. Lastly, I wanted to mention to you that yes, we did apply for a fail-safe anti-segmentation, but that was prior to the new information. So this is the new subdivision. This is the subdivision, preliminary subdivision that was applied for. Please note, this is this parcel. This is just phase one. You don't have any definitive analysis on what is coming. Please step back, deny this application, because this is all the rest of it. This is anti-segmentation at its best. We've been crying about this since it started. This is anti-segmentation efforts to keep this project under the limits, but it's not. It absolutely is in violation. Public water supply, groundwater supply, flood control, stormwater damage, prevention of pollution, and protection of wildlife habitat. You are our last defense. Please deny this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, can you comment on that about the anti-segmentation? I recall when you were before us talking about the road that goes up there that was a truck turnaround. We all knew it was part of something bigger. When that got installed, it's got water lines, hydrants, and a sidewalk. So when I drove by there, I look at the sidewalk and say, how did a truck drive around need a sidewalk? Clearly that was planned for this development. Are there, can you answer and maybe...
Are you asking me or this man?
Whoever can ask.
Whoever wants to answer. What else is coming? Can you tell us? Will you tell us? We can't demand you tell us.
Yeah, there's no other applications or no projects that are proposed in any of the parcels.
Where did she get that?
This is your plan. This is your plan.
And you work for Bowler?
Yeah. No, we
This is
filed
Bowler's plan, right
a
here.
preliminary subdivision for a 400-foot long road, but there's no projects associated with it, no developments proposed at this time.
It was just a road and a sidewalk, the road to nowhere,
As of right now.
as of then. Right, so you're going to segment this one at a time. Because as you've already done with this one. So as much as that was allowed, I didn't like it. I'll give you that at least,
Sir,
in terms of that road.
Sir, you're the property owner. What do you have to say about the segmentation? Is there another?
Mr. Chairman, first of all, we're not the property owner. We're a development group that has the project under control.
Okay,
This
okay.
piece only. We're not the applicant on the subdivision. The owner of the property is, so I cannot speak to any future plans for that property.
Okay, fair enough.
The owner that we are buying our piece from owns the rest of the land as applied for a subdivision, not us as the applicant, so I can't comment on any future plans.
Fair enough.
Dave Rollins, 49 Brayburn Circle.
Yes, sir.
I want to address the issue now that it's been brought up about the subdivision. So a preliminary subdivision, two of them were taken on this site. One for 55 acres, which contains this land, and another one for 27 acres across the road. The owner of the land has applied for and received zoning changes that he initiated, which give you a really good indication of what's coming. Among those, he asked for the residential density to be increased. He asked for the 1/3 restriction on residential and that to be removed, so he could build out 100% residential. He asked for the buffers to be reduced, a whole bunch of things that went on. He has, in this preliminary subdivision, he has by law 7 months to apply for a definitive subdivision plan. We know based on his actions what his plan is. It's to build this thing out, and with the allowed density, we're talking about something easily on the order of 1,000 units just on the 55 acres. That's what he asked for. That's the zoning changes that went in that got approved. So we know. So in 7 months, he has to put together a definitive subdivision plan by law. This planning board of Leominster has the discretion, and they have advised that you have to provide a development impact study when you submit the definitive subdivision plan. That development impact study is very broad, and it allows not only community input, but it has to address police, fire, schools, environment, traffic, the whole 9 yards. So this is segmentation at its finest, because they're pushing to get the zoning laws greased to put in a massive development. And so if we're going to be naive and say, hey, we don't know what's going on, and I mean, come on, they asked for these zoning laws to be changed. So it makes sense when you're talking 18 acres in one subdivision, you got 37 acres more. That's going to be built out with super high density, unheard of in Leominster. It's 21 units per acre. It doesn't exist anywhere today. So,
if I may.
Sure.
You don't have to stand up, right? I'm not going to ask you a question, but thank you. As lousy as the system might be, as unfair as it can be, and as weighted as it can be in relation to certain people playing in the system, we can only deal with what's in front of us. We're not the planning board. We're not zoning. We're Conservation Commission. And this is the plan we have in front of us. These are the wetlands and the vernal pools in front of us. Donna, I love your map. Nothing we can do about that. Then bring it up someplace else, because we have this plan in front of us. That's what we're dealing with. We don't have anything else in front of us, so that's what we're dealing with. If you would disagree, complain to the mayor. I don't care. But we can only deal with the plan that's in front of us right now.
As far as the plan is, can I speak to that though?
Please, briefly.
Then let's just look at the plan that's in front of you. Let's just look
We
at the
have-
plan that's in front of you.
We have many times. I'm not going to recover
Correct.
things we've already covered a bunch of times. If you
Right.
have something new,
It's not a problem.
please do.
You know, for the anti-segmentation, I respect that, and that's fine if that's not what we're able to address. I appreciate you addressing the plan that's in front of you and the number of ways that it does not meet the standards. Thank you.
One thing about if I may, Chair, one thing about the plan in front of us that we were assured is that there was some conservation land right next to this. I thought it was a couple hundred acres or something.
No,
So-
I said it was 37 acres.
Just 37, okay. But so that was a place for the critters to escape to when this whole development comes in. Is that deeded as conservation land, or is that developable?
You have 8 acres that's owned by the Leominster Land Trust, that's protected as, conservation land by that land trust. And then you have, I believe it's another 27-plus acres that was deeded open space, protected open space. I believe it was for the construction of the Bridle Path subdivision that Bavenzi did back in the 90s. The Bridle Crossway, that whole area. That is deeded open space, that's deeded in perpetuity to the city.
8 and 27.
Yep.
So 35
That's 35 acres.
Through the chair, can I ask for a comment on the absence of the certificate of compliance for the superseding order of conditions?
I thought we had covered that before.
If it's not there, it doesn't exist. Can you ask them to produce it, please?
Is that something?
Which superseding order conditions are we referring to?
Donna, more detail, please.
The parent parcel. What is it? 611 and 612, the parent parcel. Thank you.
Is that something you can answer for her tonight, Matt?
Hold on a second. I believe there was a superseding order, superseding certificate of compliance that Phil Nato signed on one of them that I did find. Actually, what it is, they were individuals. So 612 was for the construction of the Sky Lane subdivision.
Mm-hmm.
611 was for the construction of the sewer easement coming off of Pioneer from the sewer line there, heading into the Sky Lane subdivision.
He's right about that, but the DEP issued a superseding order of conditions and put them together. They were filed in very close sequence, I think a day, maybe the same day, when the DEP, because originally this commission, years ago, denied it, because they're like, there's no way this can meet.
Denied which?
611, 612, on the parent parcel. That's where the 401 water quality certificate lies. That's where the replication, that's where all these things lie. They did a massive project, DEP approved it, but took 2 file numbers and put them as one for their superseding order of conditions. So they were filed separately. DEP said, no, this is one big project, and made it one. So their superseding order of conditions for both file numbers makes them one. They're the same, and they exist on the parent parcel.
Do you know which file numbers those are and when that occurred?
This was 2000, 1999. So this is pretty much when Leominster took the sewer, they brought it in, they built Sky Lane. I believe Sky Lane was 611. That's where a lot of the replications and a lot of BVW fills. Then they took the sewer, brought it to Pioneer Industrial Park. That's where the 401 water quality certificate lies, and then 50,000 square feet of riverfront disturbance. The reason we've had a lot of questions is because Mr. Coakley, in 2011, the previous owner of the house wanted to do some work in his backyard. Well, there's a superseding order that says no riverfront disturbance can ever occur. That was in 2011, they said no. But then they've circumnavigated. It's the same river, what they now call the intermittent stream. The DEP said, you can never touch this river again. You've done so much alteration to this land. Leave it alone. But they found a way to circumnavigate that, and now here we are, talking about more disturbance. So I understand this is what's in front of you, but it's part of all of this. You got to look at the land. That's what we're here to protect. It's not how they file things and how they skirt around it. It's protecting the land. I can send you all the files if you want. I have quite a lot.
Hi, good evening. Excuse me. Cold season. William Coakley, 55 Sky Lane. And I'm going to comment on what Haley just brought up and what Don just brought up. First of all, I agree with everything that's been said with regard what Liz brought up as well. I do believe that this project should be denied by this commission. But I want to bring to it's already been brought to the commission's attention now, a critical and still binding regulatory restriction that was issued by the Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection. It was the 1999 superseding order of conditions governing the Sky Meadow, now Sky Lane subdivision, and the Pioneer Park subdivision, which includes 86, I believe it includes 86 Orchard Hill Park Drive, but at least is affected by 86 Orchard Hill Park Drive. In 1999, the Mass DEP issued a superseding order for, again, files 199611 and 199612, after the original products were denied by the Leominster Conservation Commission. DEP granted limited intrusion into the riverfront area only where absolutely necessary for essential infrastructure, but because the total disturbance was already so substantial, DEP imposed a permanent condition to prevent any further encroachment into this area. That special condition is special condition number 27, and it states verbatim, alteration of riverfront areas totals 95,360 square feet for both projects 611 and 612, out of a total of 595,680 square feet on the project site. No further development of the riverfront area shall be allowed in the future. And I think this kind of speaks to your concern about what happens 25 years from now. The condition is ongoing and does not expire upon the completion of the project or the issuance of a certificate of compliance. DEP issued this because the project had already reached the regulatory limits for disturbance under 310 CMR 10.58. The condition 27 was required to protect the remaining riverfront area, including flood storage, stormwater filtration, and wildlife habitat. The condition was written to run with the land indefinitely. In 2011, a slight correction to what Haley just mentioned. The Mass DEP issued a certificate of compliance for 55 Sky Lane, my residence, and that was so that the previous owners could sell it when I bought it. The certificate of compliance was issued as a condition of the sale of the house, of the property. That certificate reaffirmed that Condition 27 remained fully active and enforceable. It did not weaken, modify, or supersede the restriction. The proposed project here that we're talking about tonight at 86 Orchard Hill Park Drive would alter riverbanks, river flow, protected riverfront areas directly governed by this condition, including areas contiguous with my own property that are in that picture right there. Under the existing order of conditions, no further development or alteration of that riverfront area may lawfully occur under the DEP, unless DEP formally amends or rescinds Condition 27, which I can't find anywhere that it has done. Finally, even if a developer asserts that the stream is now intermittent, that doesn't void that restriction, according to what I can find. So I'd ask that the committee consider the binding 1999 superseding order of conditions and deny this project. It should also withhold any approval for work in the riverfront area unless DEP itself rescinds that condition.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that, Matt, or gentlemen, is there anything you can address tonight? The superseding order of conditions?
So the superseding order of conditions was for a sewer easement that would allow the sewer line for the Skyline subdivision to go through. So that was what one order was. The other superseding order was for the construction of the subdivision. As far as the deed restrictions go, those deed restrictions actually should be removed because in 2000, the first ORAD was approved where the stream was declared intermittent. If you actually look at the USGS map currently, the particular stream that Mr. Coakley is referring to that actually goes onto his property doesn't even show up on the map. So it was incorrectly analyzed at that point. Second thing is, even if for some reason those restrictions were still in, you can't tie it to Lot E because the order wasn't for the construction on Lot E. It was for the construction of the Skyline subdivision, and it was for the construction of the sewer line. Those are different parcels. So it would apply to those parcels only and not to Lot E. And again, I state, you have a current and final ORAD, and again, where the ORAD shows that the stream is intermittent, okay? I produced pictures showing the river dry. I took pictures of the river dry this year before the drought. I'll get them next year. I'm not going to belabor that any further. This is simply, it's for them not to remove that is actually a disservice to Mr. Coakley. And it also would be a disservice to whoever else is affected. I believe it would be the Mullets and then 50 Sky Lane. Those would be the ones that would be affected by that deed restriction, and it shouldn't exist.
So does that need to be cleared before this moves forward?
No, because it doesn't apply to our lot. It only applies to their lots.
Yeah, but I don't see a river there, frankly. I'll agree with you on that.
But what I'm saying is...
We're at the top of a hill.
All right, what I'm saying is, you guys actually have, okay, let's say, again, hypothetical situation. You have an order of conditions on one lot, all right? The lot has a perennial stream going through it. You can only analyze the riverfront and the riverfront computations that were done, and that were done for those properties, on those subject lots. So then you calculate your 10% threshold for the riverfront on those subject lots, not on, I live at 45 Lisa Drive, okay? If I have a river going through my backyard on 45 Lisa Drive, and I file a notice of intent with you guys for an addition on my house, and it's in the riverfront, I can only, and you guys can only assess the riverfront on 45 Lisa Drive.
Yes.
So if I do a deed restriction based on what you guys order or the state orders on 45 Lisa Drive, you then can't carry it over to 47 Lisa Drive. It's not legal. So what you're describing is not legal. So they can try to tie it to the parent parcels all they want, okay? It's not correct. And you can't hold that type of restriction on Lot E. It does not apply. The fact that it is now an intermittent stream, and it's been previously declared on other ORADs as an intermittent stream, okay? Because it has been, that condition is actually moot. It's unenforceable, and it should be removed from the deeds. And the fact that it doesn't is a disservice to you.
Yeah, okay.
One at a time.
Just a comment on that.
I'm not treating him as the enemy. I think that he's being cheated.
Well, changes in the stream classification do not retroactively invalidate the Mass DEP order, first of all. We can argue whether that's a stream or not. As soon as it rains, it's a stream. You can go there again. I can't investigate your side of it, but the changing of classification does not invalidate DEP orders. And it's clear that what's going to happen on this parcel is going to affect and adversely change what exists on my parcel where that stream is. So I don't know how, because it's not my area of expertise, but it will clearly affect that. So when Order 27, Condition 27 says no further development or alteration to the riverfront area may lawfully occur, I can't see how this development does not alter what's happening in the exact space that this condition refers to.
No, please stay right there. So the way you read that again, and I heard you the first time, Matt responded, you came up again, which is perfectly fine. But now it seems to me that condition 27, as Matt indicated, is for your property, not for the neighboring
Condition, for the river that's contiguous with both properties. For the riverfront that's contiguous with both properties.
Understood. That's not what it says, though. Or at least, I think what Matt is indicating is again, please, you're probably trying to...
If I may?
Please.
Matt may know more about it than I do. I'm going by what I found in researching this.
And my assertion, well, number one, it doesn't apply to parcel E, because you can't apply an order on those properties to this parcel, regardless of what the division history is. My point is that that river is intermittent. It's not a perennial stream anymore. And regardless, it should be removed from your deed. And you're being cheated on a restriction that shouldn't be on your deed. As far as I'm concerned, it's moot. That's my whole take on that.
Matt, as I recall from our conversation before, Matt, in terms of declaring an intermittent stream, if you go there
4 days in any calendar year, it doesn't have to be consecutive.
Right, exactly. Go once a quarter.
That's correct.
And if you see it dry 4 times, it's an intermittent stream, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
It's 12 consecutive months, not a calendar year, correct, Matt?
I believe it's a calendar year, but I'll double check that.
Yeah,
I usually
I
try to
think
go
it's
by the
any
calendar year.
calendar.
So it is an intermittent stream.
Oh, I understand that.
Okay.
But that's not, I don't think that actually applies to, or actually the reclassification of it as an intermittent stream or a perennial stream doesn't invalidate what Mass DEP has ruled in 1999. It stays the same.
Well, and again,
DEP did not point this out to us.
again, what I am saying, Mr. Chair, and what I am saying, Mr. Chair, and to Mr. Coakley, and when I pointed at you, I didn't mean to be rude. So what I'm saying is, it doesn't apply. I think the condition is moot, and I think you really should, at some point, investigate having that restriction removed, because I think it's unfair that it's on your property. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
Regardless of the project.
I think that's...
Fair.
Do you have anything last?
No, I've said what I have to
think
say. Thank you.
We've kind of
Thank
gone
you.
back and forth on that enough. We're going to let that issue... Did you have something, Mike?
I just had a question, overriding question. Do I understand that the plan that we're looking at right now doesn't include all of the changes that were made in a recent planning board meeting? Like the
I'll defer to Matt basically on that one.
Is there?
Yeah, except
Because I don't know
for,
how we could possibly vote on a project with this map if it's not up to date with what the planning commission...
it includes the plans that were approved by planning. Aside from it doesn't show the fence that we agreed to provide around.
Except for the disagreement on the 50 feet, which you were not able to clarify. So no, I would not want to vote on it until I see what happens to those 20 feet.
Yeah. If it says 50 feet uncut, that's not 50 feet uncut from the property line.
Okay, and something will have to change. Hopefully, without getting closer to the...
And I know that's not a wetlands issue, but it does affect, it does impact how, yeah, it does impact the actual plan that they're showing us. Sure, go ahead.
I'd like to follow up on the segmentation issue. And
Do we have to, that's, we've got a plan in front of us. We can't be talking about something else that's not in front of us.
With all due respect, Commissioner, the segmentation issue
Yes.
is an issue for another venue. It's not an issue with this board. It's an issue for another venue.
Well, it would be.
I'd
an
rather,
issue
I'd rather not go down that road,
if-
Matt. Whose name is whose? Nick.
Under wetland replication, the response to segmentation from the applicant was that there is no previous wetland alteration or previous water quality certification certificate associated with the parent parcel. The project is not anticipated to require 401 review. So, to which parent parcel is the applicant referring?
So we're referring to the parcel that's the target parcel, the parcel where you have the cul-de-sac and Lot E. So the only construction that had any wetlands impacts was the roadway that was done by the city of Leominster to go to Target. That was a separate parcel. It was a separate proponent. It was a separate project. It had a regional benefit. It helped to alleviate the traffic going on Harvard Street. There was a ton of truck traffic that used to go there. Because they would go to Powell's and they would go to Lunenburg and they would go to, the factories in Shirley. And now that's been kind of alleviated with that. But it's a separate project. And that's been noted by META.
The retail lots?
That's correct.
To the east?
That's correct.
Yes. So I did find there is a NOI filing, a notice of intent for that. It's 1990744. And there are, the wetlands on the parcel. So you're asserting effectively that there was no wetland replication on that adjacent lot to the east.
That's correct.
During that.
It was for the there was wetlands altered for the construction of the roadway, and all that was an overpass to get to Pioneer Drive. That was what I have on record.
Is that on the parent parcel, the wetlands replication?
No, it was on the city of Leominster land.
Okay. So I just wanted you to clarify that point.
Fair question.
About the parent parcel, to which parcel you were referring.
Fair question.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr.
Anybody
Chairman,
else? Oh, yeah.
I have the language I could read
Please.
to the commission. So what the language says verbatim is.
And this is what, condition 27? What language?
No,
are we
this is
talking?
not condition. This is in the MU2 zone.
Oh, the planning board, okay.
Yeah, from the
Thank
planning
you.
board.
Go ahead.
From what date? Can you give us more background on what you're reading?
This is
to
the
us?
MU2 zoning. Okay, this is the zoning that's in place that we permitted our project under through site plan approval with the planning board.
Okay.
It says, "The buffer shall consist of natural, undisturbed trees and vegetation to the maximum extent possible." It does not say uncut, as was stated.
Said undisturbed, I thought.
And
you
our
just
plan,
said.
as you see before you, is the plan that was approved by the planning board.
Read that one more time.
This buffer shall consist of natural, undisturbed trees and vegetation to the maximum extent possible. And again, approved by the planning board.
So
In the plan, that's what it says.
It doesn't say 50 feet?
What zoning, what he's reading is the zoning,
zoning.
the MU2 zoning.
Yes,
That's not what
that's what I
the
said.
planning board voted on at 12:03 on
Yes, it
whether it
is.
was November 3rd or 2nd.
This is the site plan that was
I've emailed Elizabeth
approved.
Wood since then. If you guys have questions, you just shouldn't vote. I've emailed her back and forth because my concern is where
Emailed who
the.
back and forth?
Elizabeth Wood, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Where the fence goes. That's my concern, because what I don't want is for them to go through the 50 feet of uncut vegetation to put the fence on my side. That doesn't make sense, right? I'm trying to protect my wetlands with the fence and the buffer. So the fence should be on the inside, right? So it should be on that road. My concern is with the 50 feet plus the fence, does that road really fit there?
Mr. Chairman,
And if it does, it does, but that plan doesn't show it.
Mr. Chairman, again, we don't feel like this is the venue to litigate that. We have a condition right here that says the fence. That a fence be constructed along the perimeter of the property in a location where the applicant proposes with the approval of the planning director. That's what we agreed to. It's not shown in the plans because it was a condition.
It's a condition. So do you feel, with that as a condition, you feel that this plan that you're showing us tonight meets those requirements?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if it does have to change, clearly we would have to come back before this commission and show those changes
Right.
at a future date.
Chelsea Madison, 65 Harvard Street. Can I just make like a recommendation that I think everybody could probably agree to? Just deny the project until somebody can talk to the planning board, because the meeting minutes are impossible to get a hold of. The filing's impossible to get a hold of. I just think, I know you guys are a separate entity, but I think just talking to the planning board and getting the actual information on whether or not it was 50-foot buffers required of untouched vegetation land with fences would be something that is just a really good idea. Just speak to each other. if can do
You
that.
said to deny. Are you meaning to suggest that we delay?
Yeah, deny the project, delay.
Delay is a lot different than deny.
I mean, I would suggest just to deny the project
know, but
entirely,
for your
100%.
specific
But if you for some reason are on the fence about that, just talk to the planning board before, if you don't want to deny it, talk to the planning board before you move this forward. Because if you agree to it and those plans change because the planning board was correct, or we were correct in what they were saying, they're going to have to come back anyway. Or I don't know if they will. I don't know what kind of loopholes they're going to have up their sleeve if this gets approved and what you agree to is not what planning board agreed to.
There's nobody from the planning board here tonight.
There never is. Thank you, guys.
Jesse, do you have any knowledge or information about this?
Well, I mean, just as planning made it a condition and approved the project, pending implementation of that fence, we could take a vote on this plan, pending confirmation that this is what planning approved, and we take a vote on this plan. The applicant's saying that this is the plan that's approved by planning, so if that is, then, we can vote on it, and if it's not and they're incorrect, then the vote would be void.
But we're also being told by other people who were there that that's not what was said. Until I see it in writing, I'd rather not vote.
With all due
I'm
respect, I
agreeing
just
with
read,
Mr. Siki on that.
I read
No
the
one trusts
condition.
You read the zoning.
No, and I also read the
Please
condition.
don't do that.
There's no condition on that. They approved our plan that adheres to the underlying zoning. It's a site plan approval as of right that adheres to the underlying zoning. The condition for the fence, I just read to you. That's the language. There's nothing further to clarify. That's what it says.
But I think you did say that this particular plan did not reflect the changes.
It did not
I think
reflect the
that's what you said.
fence.
Yes, that's what I heard.
If I said that, I misspoke. It doesn't reflect the fence because that was a condition, so it's not shown on the plans currently. This is the plan that was approved by the planning board, and I read you the conditions.
We're playing games. We've been playing games for months, but I'm sorry. I would just ask, vote either way. Approve it, deny it, that's fine. You approve it, we'll appeal. You deny it, they'll appeal. Either way.
No
we'll
matter what happens, it's getting appealed.
It's getting appealed. And then we trigger a MEPA review. So whatever you do, fine. But playing games back and forth, splitting hairs for this, it's been months of this. Either way, just get it done tonight so we can take it out of your hands, put it in the state's hands, and hopefully be done with whatever show this is.
Splitting hairs is what we do. It's what we live for.
Yeah.
That's why we joined this board.
These have been the best 4 months of my life. Oh, so much fun.
Anybody else? There's something that we haven't heard yet, please.
I don't have to say this if you don't want to, but I have
Repeat
a book.
your name and address
Sorry,
for the
Liz
record.
Macarella, 75 Harvard Street. Figured you guys would have it memorized by now. I have a book of notes from all of the meetings, and I can tell you from my own notes now. It's not the definitive city meeting minute notes, but those tend to be delayed a lot. What happened was that it was the meeting before the meeting where the planning board met to approve the plan. The meeting before that, they requested the 50-foot buffer. And this plan was revised to show that. So at the meeting where they approved the plan, this was the plan that they showed. And what we discussed was that the 50-foot buffer is not clearly called out to have the existing trees maintained to the 50-foot extent. And it was discussed that it should be so. It was also discussed at the time that that the fence that had previously been shown in the prior version of the plan was not shown that day, and they said they were going to add that as a condition as well. So these things were all discussed and understood, and it was done at length. And I think if we watch the the video, we could all see that, because the meeting minutes are not yet out. Thank you.
Get the date of that meeting, please.
Lastly, Donna Millette, 58 Sky Lane. That's Liz Meccarella. If you have an open seat on your board, she would be an incredible asset.
That's how we got her.
I think it's important to note that we speak of the minutes and we speak of the recordings. Please know that when we go back to these meetings to refer back, whichever person is bringing this forward to appeal, we won't be able to hear the majority of the environmental consultant's comments because it was not a priority to be heard. We have no other minutes of these meetings other than that video recording, and that is important. So I thank you very much the number of times that you had to ask for that attention to detail, like we've had to ask for the attention to detail. But thank you very much for your consideration. I hope you vote tonight.
Thank you, Donna. Anybody else? All right. Commission all set? All right. With that, I will entertain a motion to close this portion of the hearing.
So made.
Second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Michael.
Where did I put my notes?
Get your notes together.
Okay. Who was it, Steph and Mike?
Steph and Michael, yeah.
Okay, thanks.
Don't ask me which order, I can't remember.
Ladies first.
That works for me. How do you vote on that, Mike?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Jordan?
Aye.
And Steph?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
All right. See how this goes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the notice of intent for the project as described over these last several meetings. Is there DP number 199-1217? I will add that if it is approved, there will be several special conditions which we have discussed both tonight and previously, and that any approval of this will be pending confirmation of compliance with the planning board's requirements in person. I appreciate you reading that, but there seems to be a little bit of confusion, so I want to make sure that these plans, whatever plans that we're going forward with, comply with whatever the planning board came up with.
Because of how that may impact the rest of the
Correct.
development.
Correct.
Chuck, I think the request for the motion needs to specify each and every condition that would be included.
Oh, gosh.
Yep.
I've got them written helter-skelter here. I'll toss out a few. The de-icing, I think that's the correct term we'll use, is it calcium magnesium acetate?
Correct.
And not sodium chloride or calcium chloride. I'm going to say a minimum of 4 inches of wood chips in the dog park. Let's see, what else? I've written helter-skelter here. I apologize.
Signage on
There will be,
Do you want me to go
yeah.
over it? I think I took most of it.
I think I can get to it. Two more
Okay.
two more amphibian tunnels placed in appropriate manners, along with a maintenance plan for those.
Along
And-
with adjustments as necessary to make sure that they're exposed to the elements enough that they would be used.
Actually use it, correct. Correct. Also, this basin bottom down here in this corner will be raised up as was described to meet the 2-foot separation. I think that was the number that was tossed out.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, perpetual condition on the deed for signs for no snowplow.
For
There'll be
this,
signs for where we want the snow and where we don't want them. Please use this area for dumping snow, and signs saying no snow dumping in between these two signs or something along those lines.
also signs for the vernal pools.
Yes, signs, educational signs for the two certified vernal pools, saying no trespassing, whatever, and also education, what are vernal pools, why they're important, why we're trying like hell to protect them. The third-party inspector chosen by the city, paid by the property owner, whoever it happens to be, for ongoing inspection and compliance with the deed
With
requirements.
the stormwater operation and maintenance plan, but are you saying that through perpetuity?
Yes.
Because they did not agree to
Yes,
that.
yes, I am.
So would I like to.
Yes.
but they did not agree to that.
Yeah,
They
I guess-
wanted the city to do that under their budget through DPW.
And that can be an annual inspection, I'm thinking. But, which may come
Well,
out
it
for-
involves confirming that people were out within X number of days of certain events. There's some pretty strict stuff in that maintenance plan. It would take a fair amount to oversee that. And that's the
Yeah,
big
if-
hold in
If
me.
we're talking about an annual inspection by a third party rather than by the city, we can agree to that, if that's what you're saying.
I'm not sure annual's enough for that, given how much there is. Then it really just depends on what they did. Yeah, their guy. There also needs to be a maintenance plan for the amphibian tunnels for
Well,
perpetuity.
I mentioned that, maintenance plan for those, I mentioned that. Anything else? I think that's all I.
Snow removal, we got more than signs.
Yep. If anybody else have anything else, I think that's all I had in my various scattered pieces of paper.
Did
here.
you mention the perpetual O&M condition recorded in the deed?
Who's saying that? I'm sorry.
The perpetual order of conditions for the O&M plan in the deed. I don't know if you mentioned that yet.
I believe I did.
Okay, I just want to
Yes.
make sure.
The stormwater operation and maintenance plan.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
Yeah, that's the O&M plan.
Yeah.
Stormwater operation and maintenance plan.
Right.
Any fencing?
I'm sorry?
Fencing? Was there any fencing? here?
Well, we're going to confirm that.
That was the plan, but not.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
not
I think
Right.
Is Nick talking about like guardrail fencing, or are
you
you
talking
talking
about?
about like the property boundary fencing?
Fencing around, I think to indicate a wetland boundary. Right, so 50 feet from a wetland or something. But that was the planning, that's not a new condition.
Yeah. Anything else? Do you have anything else, Rich? Yeah, like I said, what I've got in my head is trying as best we can, sitting here on December 9th, 2025, protect these vernal pools going forward, not just during construction and immediately thereafter.
How about a construction plan regarding the tight spaces?
Well, there will be a construction plan. Yeah.
Is there, okay.
Yeah.
So that's.
Yeah, could be a whole construction phasing process
Okay,
and everything.
so you've agreed to that?
Yeah.
So where are we on the oversight of the O&M plan and their inspector?
Yeah, that's where I was going next.
Thank you.
First, honestly, this is the first time I've dealt with a truly critical O&M plan like this, so I'm not quite sure where to go, but the
It's almost going to be a deed restriction.
yeah, I agree, this is all deed restriction, not just in a special condition, not just in the order conditions. As the order conditions go with the deed. I'm not even sure how that works.
So what happens is the order of conditions goes with the property. It actually doesn't go with the owner. So
Goes
what
with the
happens?
property, right, yeah.
Right, so what winds up happening is if you put these in as perpetual conditions, it has basically the same effect. So when and if this project gets a certificate of compliance, there is a section on the certificate
confirm
form
all
where
those.
you would put these survive the issuance of a certificate, kind of on the same vein as condition 27.
Okay.
And again, that, as it has been demonstrated by one of the abutters, it does show up on a sale.
Right, correct, yeah, you said that, yeah. Oh, yeah, so these special conditions these will be perpetual going forward with the property, not with the owner. Were there, again, any more that I missed? Anybody else have anything?
No, but just clarifying who's paying.
Oh, yes.
What kind of inspection does the city get themselves to oversee the inspections and the work that's done through perpetuity?
Jesse, as a city.
That's my big holdup
Yeah.
here.
As a city employee, do you have any recommendations on who can do what when?
No, I haven't spoken to any city departments on, no one from the city has made any commitment to making sure that there is.
Yeah, 'cause
going to be upkeep of inspection of this process.
Yeah, I'd hate to commit other city departments to this.
Well, we can't.
Right,
There's no way.
right.
Yeah.
Would,
I'm not sure which phase you're talking about now. Can we clarify, what are we talking
I think
about?
they're talking about in perpetuity.
Yeah, it's going forward with stormwater compliant, well,
Compliance officer in your office, aren't
yeah,
know.
maybe it's a code enforcement thing.
Yeah.
But mostly what we're talking about is stormwater management, stormwater compliance, and snow management compliance. Those are my two big things, as mostly as they relate to the vernal pools.
Okay. I mean, as far as the third party during construction, so the way the stormwater management system works is that under EPA regulation, wood partners would be required to hire a certified stormwater inspector who would then have to go out every week and look at the erosion protection and
This is part of the SWIP, right?
Right,
Yeah.
and write SWIP reports showing that it's compliant, or if there's a deviation, you know, like something needs to be fixed, that it needs to be entered, and if it's not fixed, it goes to a maintenance log, and then it will go to the city.
Yeah.
Or if there is like a half-inch rainstorm, so the person would have to be there within 24 hours after that rain event and do an inspection and document it.
Okay.
You guys asked for a third party during construction.
Okay.
So a third party wouldn't necessarily have to go out every week. A third party could go out like twice a month and meet up with whoever the certified stormwater inspector is, which is what I think you guys were getting at.
I was looking for perpetuity from the beginning.
Right, but
Not just
perpetuity,
construction.
you're gonna have a stabilized area, so the erosion potential is basically gone once the area is stable and all the construction is done. What you're looking for now is you're looking for someone who's going to make sure the signage is maintained for the snow storage and the, you know, don't you dare put any snow here, which
Yeah.
I get, okay? You put, and someone who would monitor to make sure that the maintenance requirements, cleaning out of the, you know, the vortex separators and, you know, anything, any silt from any of like the basins would be cleaned out, and that the infiltrated trenches were maintained when needed and inspected regularly. So having somebody go down that frequently when it may not even be required that frequently, because those basins usually only have to be cleaned out twice a year unless there is an event that, you know, like for some reason there's a heavy siltation event. So my recommendation is basically, I would think twice a year, an annual inspector comes out and meets with the property management and whoever is managing that stormwater conveyance system, reviews the reports, which should be copied to the Department of Public Works anyway, so that they have them on their files, so that they can ensure that everything is being complied with to the specifications you guys did. And the third party goes out twice a year, inspects the system, inspects the reports, and makes sure that everything is being done. I think that's sufficient coverage, and in perpetuity, it wouldn't be an unreasonable burden or an expense to my clients to have just somebody do it once over. It wouldn't.
Just to clarify, the section I'm talking about is the long-term pollution prevention plan.
That's correct.
More so than the stormwater.
That's correct.
Protection plan.
Yep, agreed.
Because it gets incredibly detailed, and I have little faith
Right.
that any person, let alone, the apartment owners are necessarily gonna ensure that all of these things that are done. You know, I mean, seriously, it just gets into the height of the grass and how much will be cut each time, and who's gonna literally follow this stuff? I think there's too much detail in here, frankly.
Well, what winds up
for it to be
happening is you have
practical.
the construction stormwater inspection plan, the SWIP plan that's followed for,
Until the site's stabilized.
right, until the site's stabilized, and then you have that O&M plan that will go in
For
perpetuity.
perpetuity. But it's looking at pest waste being disposed of and snow piles and where the snow can go.
So we can use it as a template and take out the ones we think are inappropriate, correct? Or aren't needed?
Say that again?
We can adopt these.
Theoretically, we'd have to take time to go through it,
Yeah.
which wouldn't help vote tonight.
Oh, yeah, true. Good point.
You know, where they're gonna store sanding things, and which they may not.
All right, so,
This also, well, we already overruled part of this, the calcium carbonate or potassium
Right.
chloride or sodium
Yeah.
chloride.
so how about one of the conditions in perpetuity will be a third party, well, this will just be during construction. Third party inspector during construction, again, reporting to us, but paid by the proponent. Third party during construction to meet with the certified stormwater inspector, go over their SWIP, make sure everything is, and then I appreciate your twice a year, I'm gonna say once a quarter. Once a quarter, in perpetuity, for an inspector to come and meet with the property manager and anybody else that is,
Will they be able to inspect at any time that they select and not necessarily pre-scheduled appointments or?
uh-oh, we have an attorney coming up.
Oh, is that who he is? Yeah, go on, maybe we go over and check. If they're gonna promise this much, they're promising a lot.
Then they come out of that, then the thing when they need to know about.
It just feels, we haven't seen that kind of frequency been put on a property before. Just, there
And that-
shouldn't be really anything.
We have no problem with it. We have no problem with that whatsoever, because we feel that the certified vernal pools are important enough, and this is a high-profile enough project in a city like Leominster, that I think these are warranted. If you don't like them, then
You may not have
you
seen
can
that,
appeal.
but we haven't seen a development like this either, packed in like this
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
This is unprecedented to us, sir.
Yeah.
Understood?
Do I got enough detail there, or?
Did we get a quarterly follow-up to inspect their inspections, so to speak?
Well,
Inspection of the
yeah,
inspector.
go out once a quarter. Go out
Yeah.
once a quarter in perpetuity, and just meet with the property manager and go over
And review the reports.
the reports, look at the basins, that type of thing.
That would be okay by me.
Yeah,
Fine.
okay.
On the pollution prevention.
Any feedback, comments, gentlemen?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Oh, no, just no, any feedback or questions in terms of what we're saying? No,
No,
okay.
Mr. Chairman.
I don't know if it's allowed to ask a question.
We're kind of in the process here of closing something, if it's,
My question is, how do you, like, what teeth does that have? What if they just don't? What's the consequences?
these are deed restrictions. This is a deed restriction.
But if they don't, they come up with an
Then,
issue, what happens?
okay, then if conditions are not met, then the
You have to take legal action.
appropriate, I don't know if we need to go legal action quite, but the appropriate city agency will then
It would be a
Enforce-
violation of your
enforce
order of
compliance.
conditions and
I'm sorry?
subject to, it would be a violation of your order of conditions and subject to immediate enforcement action by this commission.
there you go.
And when would you expect the certificate of compliance to be issued? Upon construction or
Well,
never?
that would be up to you guys, because we would have to finish the project, have everything completely stable, to be able to demonstrate the replication was done effectively. And then we would have to bring it back before this board for you guys to evaluate.
Right, but following, Mr. Morrow, what you just said, if you then get a certificate of compliance and it's now closed, we don't have the open order of conditions.
And
to be
I
violated,
disagree,
or am I
because
wrong?
you would have
Please
perpetual
do.
conditions, and the
Right.
perpetual conditions give you the enforcement authority.
So basically to reopen it.
Yeah,
in some
correct.
sense.
The perpetual conditions give you the authority to come after us if it's not complied with.
All right, did we miss anything? Anybody want to add anything that,
Chuck, real quick.
yes?
I know we just mentioned replication. Are there standards for replication that we're expecting to be met, like a certain percentage of land covered by wetland plants within a certain amount of time? I don't know if we have that written out anywhere. I just want to double check.
Actually, the replication plan is actually in the notice of intent. It
Okay.
specifies the plantings. It also specifies that it's required to be completed within a 2-year stretch.
Okay.
If it's not, we would have to continue to finish it and check in with this commission until it is. You have to show a minimum of 75%.
Okay. Thank you for the
efficacy.
clarification. Yeah, there's been a lot of paperwork to look at.
That's the state requirement.
Okay, thank you.
And just to confirm, you're doing 1.5 to 1, is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, all right. Any other comments for the special conditions? Okay. So that is, I'll entertain a motion to, again, to approve the.
Just to clarify.
Please.
That as terms of what planning committee and that 50-foot or not,
Yep.
that this would not be, if we vote yes,
It's pending
Null and void.
It's
confirmation
null
that
and
that is the
void
plan that the planning board
if they
voted to
wanted
accept.
50 feet of undisturbed buffer.
Yes.
Because this does not meet that.
No, it does not. We just
Okay.
need to make sure, right. Again, I appreciate your reading, reading that, but we just want to confirm with the planning board itself. So anyway, so that is my request for a motion. Will anybody please, anybody feel like making that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Nick. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay. How do you vote on that? Mike,
Aye.
Nick,
Aye.
Chuck,
Aye.
Rich,
Aye.
Jordan,
Aye.
and Steph.
No.
Fair enough.
It means I didn't think I'd be alone there. Wow, I didn't feel like we met the,
It's close. It's going to get appealed.
we, yeah.
On our dime now, on our dime, instead of theirs.
Unfortunately.
That's it.
But DEP will do the work.
We had, thank you very much for your time. We gave you every tool to support this decision. Thank you.
I didn't think we met the criteria for the,
They didn't.
Anyway, that's,
Thank you.
thank you, everybody.
Thank you
Really
very much.
appreciate you. We appreciate your time, your interest, and your expenses. We really do. Thank you so much. We hardly ever get this much on.
See you in court.
Donna, please, unnecessary.
Let's see us in court. We'll be removed.
No, you're on. Nice to be anywhere. Where's my, here we go. And if folks, if you can not linger, we still have the rest of our hearing to make it through. Please and thank you. No, I just don't linger, that's all.
Oh, it's going to waste the whole time.
No loitering.
There you go.
No question about it.
That was cut and dry.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Matt. Good luck.
Hey, you know what? You voted the way you felt.
No, yeah, that's,
No, and I wasn't even voting on my feelings. I voted on what made sense.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
You voted on what you felt was the right decision.
No. What I felt would be the right decision would be to vote yes so that we could stay involved with the process. It was the maximum extent practicable thing is what I didn't think that we were literally meeting.
No, I know what you mean, and what I'm trying to say is, you felt that it didn't meet standards, so you voted that way.
Yeah, but
Great.
you're,
I mean,
I don't know,
worries.
the way you're saying it makes it feel subjective, when
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sorry.
saying
I
I
didn't
think
mean
it
it that
seems
way.
objective.
No, I didn't mean it that way.
we're not going anywhere. We still have to finish the agenda.
Kidding
Well,
me?
pass it on.
It's
Did you
past
hear
my
a vote to
bedtime.
convene?
You're gonna leave before meeting minutes?
One reason I voted yes was
Get the show on
that,
the road. Turn my mic
was
back on.
because it gives us the order of conditions. And
I
all the
think we should
conditions are
finish,
just
I think we should finish
Yeah.
the
meeting
meeting.
and
Agreed.
then go.
Thank you.
But that's why.
All right, moving on. Regular meeting, nothing under enforcement. Meeting minutes. I looked at the meeting minutes for November 18th, 2025. They look fine to me. Anybody have any?
Yeah, I went through them, and when I edited them, it changed it.
Oh.
It didn't leave it, I couldn't get it to leave it in,
No, you couldn't do the tracking?
I couldn't get it to
Where
do
it's
that this time. So I changed a couple minor things that you wouldn't even notice.
I
Okay.
mean, I trust,
So I was
I
okay.
trust your editing prowess, Rich.
With that, then I'll entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes.
So
for
moved.
November 18th.
So moved,
as
sorry.
Edited by Rich.
Second.
Well, as existing.
All right.
Yeah, that's.
I think I ended it
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Michael. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you.
October 28th.
Yeah,
No,
no,
don't-
the voting.
You
Oh
get
my
a vote?
God.
It's been a long
Yeah.
night.
That's what happens when you've been at work for this long.
That's okay.
I was like, why isn't he bringing up October 28th? All right, how do you vote on the first 7 minutes, Mike?
Aye.
Nick?
too. Right.
Chuck?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Steph?
Aye.
And Jordan?
Aye.
Okay.
All right. And I wasn't around for the meeting for the 28th. Anybody have any comments?
Minutes are fine.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes for
So moved.
October 28th.
So
I'll second.
moved.
Thank you.
All right, so Rich and Mike on that one. How do you vote? Mike?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
Rich?
Aye.
Steph?
Aye.
And Jordan?
Aye.
All right, and next meeting's TBD, so I'm gonna use my prerogative as chair to, we're not gonna have a meeting on the 23rd of December.
Yeah.
The meeting after that'll be what,
It'll be
Jesse?
January 13th.
And the closing date to get on the agenda is when?
Oh, let's see, it would be
January 2nd?
January, no, it would be December 26th.
December 26th, that long?
I think so, right? Isn't it? Or no, the second, you're right.
For January 13th?
2nd,
It would be the January 2nd?
Yes.
Filing deadline?
That Friday, yes.
Okay, all right. So that's that. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Thank you, Michael.
Okay, and on that vote, Jordan?
Aye.
Steph?
Aye.
Nick?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Chuck?
Aye.
And Rich?
Aye. I
Okay.
get the last word.
Look at that.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah, I don't think they understood that, at least, Robert, we all set? Robert, are we off?
Go to commercial.